Good morning at 7 a.m. on Friday, December the 8th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see cloudy skies, the high of 72. Coming up today on Off the Bench, presented by All-Star Toyota, we preview the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Former LSU Tiger Marlon Favorite joins the show at 8 a.m., and we'll preview Saints-Panthers in the Dome on Sunday. Hour number 1 of OTB starts right now.
Let me go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Yeah! Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
What's up, people? Happy Friday. Welcome in to another edition of Off Bench. Mario Jerez here with an all-star cast of producers on this Friday, jacked up about it. Matt Musso in my usual spots in his, I guess, on his former show. He was a producer of this show before I was. He trained me, actually. And Taylor Sharp getting us on YouTube. He'll pretty much be my co-host today, as will Musso. Lots to break down today as T-Bob and Jake still out for one more day. They'll be back on Monday. Jake will be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, I believe, tomorrow. And T-Bob's still in Disney World. Y'all should check out T-Bob's Twitter. He's having a really good time. Some really wholesome stuff with both of his daughters and his son as well, and his wife. So shout out to T-Bob and Hester. We hope they're enjoying some R&R still. And like we said, fun show coming up today. Normal Friday vibes here on OTB, minus the champagne, unfortunately. Rivers could not make it today, but we will do it sober, and we'll still do it big. Big fave coming up at 8 a.m., like Musso told you. We have Carter Bryant coming up at 9 a.m. as well. That was just confirmed. Always look forward to talking to Carter. He always brings the energy. I know he's jacked up about Jaden Daniels being in New York. And as Musso told you, we'll preview that Heisman ceremony. We will preview Saints versus Panthers as well, although that conversation will probably be pretty depressing. We still have to talk about it. Divisional matchup in the Superdome. Lots going on in the world of sports this weekend. So talk to me in the Bayou 4 chat. Interaction was great yesterday. Always appreciate y'all being here. Musso, Taylor, let's go ahead and exchange some pleasantries. I would appreciate it if we could take a while doing this so I could spend the least amount of time possible talking about the basketball game last night. Musso, thanks for being here, bro. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's been a while since I've been here for an Off the Bench. Morning radio is still kicking with the pregame show, all these darn 11 a.m. kickoffs. But, OTB, good to be back.
We appreciate you being here, man. Musso, my dear friend, my former co-host.
Yeah, how about that?
Always enjoy chopping it up with him. Taylor Sharp, how was your night, man? How's it going?
I'm doing good. I pull up behind the building, see a Toyota Tacoma sitting there, and I'm like, wait a minute, little round table this morning. I mean, 3 of these studs in the same room. Like, to me, that sounds like cornering the market a little bit. I don't know if Guarantee's going to get in trouble for that, but hey, I'm here for it, dude.
I'm here for it, too.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Like, all-star cast coordinators, like, both of y'all host all the time. It's like I'm the head coach, and I got 2 former head coaches as my coordinators today. It feels good.
Can I be Bobby Petrino?
You could definitely be Bobby
Thanks.
Petrino.
Sure you want to do that?
I do.
How's your motorcycle game?
It's not good. Neither is his.
There you go.
So perfect.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, man.
You're right for the job here.
Hope Victoria's not listening. Hope there are no interns around. Just messing with you, Taylor. But, yeah, you could be Bobby Petrino, and Musso could be whoever he wants to be. Shout out to everybody already in the Bayou 4 chat. Again, interaction was awesome yesterday. I see Brian Burgess in there. I'm sure he just finished his morning jog. He takes some cool pictures that he posts on Twitter. Brian Burgess does. He runs across the levee over there. Some really good views, especially before the sun comes up. So shout out to Brian Burgess. William also in the chat. Pedro in the chat talking Pelicans. I guess we have to do that as well. And it was not a good effort for the Pelicans last night. They lose to the Lakers 133-89. We broke this game down yesterday with Taylor. We were pumped up about it. I mean, everybody, I'm sure, even in Baton Rouge, was watching this game. National television, Bally Sports could not ruin it for you. And I don't know if y'all saw the pregame with Reggie Miller and Michael Wilbon and Stephen A. It was like an inception between the two networks. That was kind of cool to see. And the Pelicans don't play on TNT very much, which kind of makes the performance suck that much more. But it was still kind of fun consuming all of that yesterday. Would y'all agree that even though it did not end well for the Pelicans, that this in-season tournament went a little bit better than maybe we expected?
I mean, you actually got to watch it, right? So that's an improvement. No, I mean, I enjoyed the game overall. I thought the first quarter, I thought the effort was there in the first quarter. I thought they looked really good on the offensive boards. I mean, Herb Jones had a couple offensive putbacks. Zion had one. And then, for whatever reason, man, LeBron James decided that he wasn't going to lose last night. And, typically when he does that, he doesn't lose. And Me and Musso were talking about it. Like, I turned it off in the middle of the third quarter. I think he did as well.
Yep, I did. I mean, once LeBron started making half-court threes, I was like, it's going to be a long night for the New Orleans Pelicans, and it was. They just, outside of that first quarter, they looked slow, all of them. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to harp on Zion, and I get it. He's the highest-paid player on the team. He's looked upon as your franchise and should be the best player on the team. He was slow, but they all look slow. B.I. didn't look great. I mean, the Lakers came out with energy that matched what I think you saw from the Pelicans and really every other team late in this in-season tournament. The Lakers had that energy all night. The Pelicans never matched it.
Let me ask y'all something. Y'all have watched a lot of the Pelicans and a lot of Zion over the last 4 years. Maybe I'm just a prisoner of the moment. Maybe I'm just a little upset at him given the effort last night, but he looks like he's lost a little bit of his explosiveness compared to the last couple of seasons. Like that second jump that we talked so much about, him getting his own rebounds, running up and down the floor. He's not doing it with the same efficiency that he was doing it the last couple of years. And hopefully it's a case where he's still ramping up his conditioning. And I know people get upset when you say that, but the reality is he has not played that much basketball over the last calendar year. So the only way you get in shape is playing in the games. Hopefully that's what this is. Hopefully by the time we get to January and February, you do see that explosiveness. You do see that athleticism. But right now it's lacking. And a lot of it is when the Pelicans get down, he pouts a little bit. That's definitely something he needs to work on. But he looks like he's lost a little bit of his explosiveness due to the injuries. I hope that's not the case.
Well, not only that, he's rusty because he hasn't played. I mean, you got to consider that as well. Like, he's played, season and a half total if you add up the number of games in his NBA career. I mean, yeah, he's been in the league a while, but he hasn't been available. I'm surprised he's as slow as he is, Mario. He was running those 40-yard dashes that we still have not obtained video footage of
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it'll take him a little while to get going. You got to realize, like, not saying he's fat or anything, but he's always heavy. Like, he's always going to weigh a lot. That's bad on a guy's knees. That's bad on his ankles. And, you know, he could lose a little bit of explosiveness over time, but there's no way of saying that he can't get it back.
I like that they've taken it slow with him this go-round, though. I mean, look, it was great to see them last year at this time be first in the West, and he was explosive, and he was playing with a bunch of energy and all that. But you have to maximize him this year. And I think having him sit the back-to-backs like they've done outside of one ultimately will pay dividends in the long run. Does he need to be more explosive? Sure, I'm with you on that. Like I said, he and all of them look slow. But I'm okay with them taking it slow because what you've done the first, three years with him now hasn't worked. So try something else. If you were going to run this back again this year, you needed to do something different. And at least to me, it looks like they're taking that approach. So I'm fine with that. And if you look at the schedule, outside of this outside of the in-season tournament, it's done now. There's a stretch coming up where there's winnable games for them to hopefully get on a run here with their depth and their rotations and win a few games and get in a better position in the Western Conference.
And they were kind of already on one. I mean, 7-2 in the last 9 coming into this game, but they got humbled yesterday. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And that's disappointing because y'all, again, have seen this team on the big stages in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and it's very rare that they just wilt and kind of lay down and die. And it was not just Zion. I mean, LeBron had 30 points in the game. CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson combined had 32. So LeBron almost had as much as your big three combined, which cannot happen. I mean, Zion is one thing, but B.I. and CJ, you expect a little bit more out of them. I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. CJ McCollum goes 4 of 14 from the field. Brandon Ingram, 4 of 13 from the field against his old team. Brandon Ingram plays with a lot of emotions against the Lakers, and that's not a very emotional dude. But that was not there last night. And then Zion, who we just talked about, he had a season low 10 points against the Kings a couple of games ago. A game the Pelicans won in this tournament, but just 13 points yesterday. Never found a rhythm, and he was 1 of 6 from the free throw line, which is not good at all. And another thing that's really hurt the Pelicans this season is third quarters. They've improved a little bit in the last 10 or so games, but that reared its head again yesterday. 43-17 advantage for the Lakers in the third quarter yesterday. And a lot of that was LeBron James. Y'all know how I feel about LeBron. I haven't been the biggest fan of LBJ throughout his career, but it is crazy to see him doing what he's doing right now. And it's similar to how we were just talking about Zion, but it makes a lot more sense because he's 38 years old. They've done a good job of kind of balancing his minutes. He knows when to go hard, when to not. Obviously, they care a lot about this tournament as well. And LeBron definitely deserves his credit for what he did last night. He definitely humbled this basketball team. And if you're Willie Green, you have to feel a little bit old, because I read an article going into the game that Willie Green entered the NBA the same year LeBron did, in 2003. And all these years later, he's in his, fourth season as Pelicans coach, and he's still facing off against LeBron as a player. That's incredible, and that's a testament to what LBJ is doing.
I did not realize. I mean, I understood he was getting older. They said it on the broadcast last night. He'll be 39 at the end of December. I had no idea. Mario, as far as you were talking about Brandon Ingram, I agree with you. I expected a lot more from Ingram, especially from his old team, because, I get it. Sometimes your shots are off. Sometimes you're a little sluggish. But he just seemed hesitant in the paint as well. Even going against Anthony Davis. I mean, I really thought he'd be a little bit more juiced up, wanting to take it to Anthony Davis. But he just seemed hesitant. He got the basketball. He didn't quite know what to do with it. He had a lot of unforced errors out there. I was a little surprised at just how bad he was last night.
Yeah, not good. Not good. And like Musso said, the schedule will lighten up a little bit, but it's just very discouraging. I'm sorry, it really is. Y'all saw the video of Brandon Ingram and Zion during their media availability, laughing, joking around. What are we going to do if we win all this money? It looked like they were already doing that. It looked like Brandon Ingram was fresh off the blackjack table for 6 hours. It looked like Zion was straight out of the buffet for 6 hours. And I normally don't make Zion fat jokes, but I think that today it's fair to do that, because he looked really out of shape. Like Musso said, he looked really slow. And I see some people in the chat kind of sticking up for him, which surprises me. Adam Fields says, to Zion's credit, he acknowledged his play and effort on defense in the postgame. I think that's at least something. Let's own it. I like that he owns it. Let's see if we can parlay that. I feel that, that's nice. But at the end of the day, words are just words. And it's a little bit frustrating because it's his fourth season and he hasn't been able to stay on the court. So he hasn't really had the opportunity to respond to that adversity. Now he does. And they had a players-only meeting a couple of weeks ago after Zion made some comments about taking a back seat in the Pelicans offense. And since then, the Pelicans, not only have they improved on offense, assists and efficiency and stuff like that, but Zion's numbers have gotten a lot better. So he's kind of done that this season. But last night, like Willie Green said, definitely felt like a step backwards. Like the stage was too big for the Pelicans. Again, surprising for a team that has been in big games, has played in playoff games. So very, very discouraging if you're the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pels are 12-11 on the season. The Lakers, unfortunately, 14-9, a little bit ahead of New Orleans in the standings. Trying to think if I have any final thoughts on this game. Austin Reeves looked good, 17 points in 23 minutes. I hate watching that guy play basketball. He is my least favorite player to watch. But he had a good game last night, so I'll give him props, Taylor.
He did. When he made that first corner three in about the first quarter to take that lead, I thought of you. I almost texted you, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. The Lakers just took the lead. My guy's going through it. So I showed remarkable self-restraint. You'll be proud of me for that one. But, yeah, I thought of you all night long, man, every time Austin Reeves drained one.
I appreciate you, Taylor. I thought about you when Bailey Zappi was killing it and how we kind of fell prisoners to the moment last year when he was singing Stacey's Mom on the sideline. We'll see if the Bailey Zappi bandwagon is as heavy this time around.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. You know me, I was kind of a Bailey Zappi fan when he came out of college. And, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked for him. But last year, Matt Patricia was your offensive coordinator, so I think maybe we can give him a pass. Working with Matt Patricia as a rookie is not the easiest thing to do. But, he hasn't looked good when he's played this year any. I mean, last year he probably looked better than he has so far this year. I thought he's taken a step back, but last night he was great. I mean, 67% completion percentage, 3 touchdown passes, over 250 against a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that's not half bad. I mean, they're in the top half of the league in terms of points per game. So I thought he actually looked really good.
We'll talk about that game a little bit more later on in the hour, but the Pelicans fall to the Lakers last night, 133-89. All right, on the other side of this first break, let's talk a little bit of Heisman Trophy. We know Matt Moscone is doing his show from New York. The festivities will begin this weekend as Jayden Daniels looks to win the Heisman Trophy. He'd be the second LSU player to win it in the last 5 years. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the other side of this break. Mario Jerez here with you, Matt Musso, and Taylor Sharp as well. This is Off the Bench on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. Whether you're buying new, if you're leasing, or if you're checking out that rental department that we tell you about every single day, just know that the full fleet is available in every single thing that we talk about with All-Star. So no matter what you're looking for, if you want a full-size SUV, you need it for your big crew, well, they got the Sequoia. If you'd rather go to the minivan gang, they've got the Sienna. But if you just want a midsize SUV, and also I tell you this, the midsize SUVs are bigger than you're probably thinking right now. Like for me, I've got a Highlander, and y'all know, look, we've got a huge family, but it works for us, right? We can check out the Highlander. We can check out the 4Runner, some different options there. So go see them today. Go see it for yourself. See what fits your needs, your family's needs. You know they got sedans. You know they got hybrids. They've got the trucks, the Tundra, the Tacoma, something for everybody, and all the processes that we talk about every single day. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we'll kick things off with our noon kickoff. It's the Jaguars and Browns. Immediately following that, it's Bills and Chiefs, and then our nightcap, the Eagles at Cowboys. Tune in to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Good morning, people. Welcome back to the show. Friday edition of Off the Bench. Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob and Hester. Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp hanging out with you as well. Shout out to everybody in the Bayou Ford chat. Already a lot of great interaction. Shout out to Brian Burgess, who says he did indeed do his run on the levee, 4:40 a.m. Can y'all imagine waking up that early and getting a workout in before 5
No,
a.m.?
Brian's a good dude. He makes me mad when he does that, though, because I wake up and I'm like, oh, rise and grind. Like, we're going. We wake up early, and Brian's already, like, in the 3rd mile of his run. It's just a slap in the face to me.
Yeah, dude. In theory, that sounds great. Like, you feel good. You know, your workout is done. Yeah, your workout's done. You don't got to worry the rest of the day.
I'm with Musso here. I
don't even think in theory that sounds great. It sounds real bad. I mean, kudos to BB. He does it all the time. But it sounds awful.
Like on a Saturday.
If I'm running, you better run too, because like something bad's happening.
Like on a Saturday, I could hit the gym on an empty stomach, feel good, like right when I wake up, like maybe 8 or 9. And then I'll feel good the rest of the day, right? I don't have to worry about working out. I already got it in. But waking up before the sun comes up and getting a sweat in, that just seems like a little bit too much. But hey, it works for Brian. He's probably been doing it for a long time, so shout out to him.
Mario, he said he ran 6.2 miles this morning. It would take me a week and a half to run 6.2 miles.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not really good with the measurements and stuff. I think it took me like 9 minutes to run the mile in PE class in 4th grade, but I was also really fat when I was little, so... Hey, physical conditioning, really important. I hope Zion Williamson is listening. Anyway, and anywho, Jaden Daniels will be in New York this weekend, potentially winning the Heisman Trophy, and he actually took home some more hardware yesterday. We know he won the Unitas Award, which we recapped the other day. And yesterday afternoon, Jaden Daniels was named the AP College Football Player of the Year. That's pretty much the same criteria for the Heisman, right? Best college football player, but he takes it home. He got 35 out of the 51 first-place votes from this award, and he finished comfortably ahead of Michael Penix Jr., who was second in votes, and Bo Nix, who was third, the same guys he's competing with for the Heisman Trophy. So hopefully that is a positive omen. We talked about it with Cobble yesterday. We've really been talking about it all week. It feels like this is just a formality at this point. That's kind of displayed in the odds, I think, as well. Whatever sports book you look at, Jaden Daniels the clear favorite. And had Bo Nix and Oregon took home that game in the conference championship against Washington, maybe it's a different story. But despite the 3 losses, Jaden's stats are far and above, so much better than everybody else who is up for this award. And it's funny, y'all have seen the comparisons time and time again with Jaden Daniels and one of the quarterbacks, whether it be Nix or it be Michael Penix. And the passing yards are pretty equitable, right? And the efficiency and the touchdowns. We've all heard the crazy stat that Jaden has more touchdowns of 20-plus yards than Bo Nix has completions of 20-plus yards. But a lot of the times when you see those charts, you see those comparisons, it doesn't even factor in the rushing yards, which is kind of the strength of Jaden Daniels' game, you could argue. So just a great season for him. I'm glad he's getting more hardware. And we'll have all the coverage for you for this Heisman Trophy ceremony. But again, it feels like it's kind of just a formality at this point, and it feels like it's going to be part of this collection now of awards that Jaden Daniels is taking home.
Yeah, so I was in for Scone yesterday and talked a little bit about it from a big picture standpoint because, I mean, we all saw the season. I mean, we've all watched it. We've all set our piece on it. There's not really much more to say to put it in perspective in the historical context of what Jaden's done, other than what has surprised me so much is I think my feeling around it and how I'm going to feel Saturday night when he does win the award, because for the longest time, that was what none of us had ever seen. We had all seen him win national titles. We had seen him win the SEC. We had seen him win big out-of-conference games or beat Alabama or do any of those things. Joe Burrow winning the Heisman Trophy was a first that many of us just had never seen, because a lot of LSU fans currently weren't alive or old enough to remember in 1959 when Billy Cannon won it. So that was that special moment. And what we were all told and what we all said, not just what we were all told, was embrace it, because you don't know when it's going to happen again. And you'll never see another season like that, like Joe Burrow put on. Well, 4 seasons later, enter Jaden Daniels, and you did see another season like that, 50 touchdowns. You ran through the numbers of comparing to the other candidates, and now you're going to see another Heisman Trophy winner. And that, while I think maybe to the rest of the country will start feeling familiar in a sense, it won't, at least not for me, watching LSU win another one. It's going to still feel surreal, because I think we all just thought it was so, I don't want to say forbidden, but so forbidden when Joe Burrow did it, and now Jaden Daniels is back 4 seasons later doing it again, and it's going to be a pretty special moment.
I'm actually with you, and it took me a while to get there, Musso, because me and Mario have been talking about it kind of off air. It's like, I don't want to take it away from Jaden Daniels, but it's like, for a while I didn't have the same excitement that I did because we just saw it from Joe Burrow, but I'm with you. I'm there now, man. I'm excited. Like, for the longest time, people are like, oh, Jaden for Heisman. I'm like, yeah, I want him to win it, but I'm not going to be upset if he doesn't. But, like, I'm there now. I'm with you. I am so fired up about this. It's so good for the program. It's so good for recruiting. I mean, Mario, we talked about it the other day with Hester. It's like you had Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and then Jalen Hurts. Baker and Kyler win it. Jalen finishes second to Joe Burrow. But it's not just those guys. It's what they got after. They got a Spencer Rattler. He was the number one quarterback in the country. They get a Caleb Williams. He was the number one quarterback in the country. I mean, guys were going to Oklahoma specifically because they knew, hey, I can thrive in an offense like this. I can win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, who's to say that that's not LSU's path?
Yeah, it could be, realistically. And hopefully that lays the foundation for that, like y'all are saying. And like Hester was saying, hopefully you do see that pipeline of great LSU quarterbacks. From Burrow, you hit a little snag there, some instability. You had Finley in there. You had Max Johnson there for a while. But now hopefully that pipeline continues. And you'll have homegrown guys. Nussmeier and people like that will come in from in the state. But you'll also be very active in the transfer portal, and this will be a very attractive destination, not just for quarterbacks that play the same position, but for everybody, because they want to be a part of this. And although, the two bowl game destinations like we talked about yesterday, very underwhelming the last 2 years, the Citrus Bowl and now the ReliaQuest Bowl, but Jaden Daniels' legacy, it should be remembered because hopefully he helped usher in the Brian Kelly era. And hopefully, although Jaden Daniels won't be the one taking home a ring as LSU's quarterback with Brian Kelly's potential first championship, he will have laid that foundation, right? The same way a guy like Jamarcus Russell did before Flynn won it. I always like to give respect to Danny Etling. He at least opened up the offense a little bit compared to what LSU was doing before that, and then Joe Burrow came in and did what he did. So hopefully you do see him laying that foundation. And I wanted to ask y'all, I told y'all before the segment, what do you think Jaden Daniels' legacy will be? Because we'll remember him. We watched the team. We covered the team. We know how good he is, and we know that the reasons that LSU lost these games is not because of Jaden Daniels. But fair or unfair, I think in the grand scheme of things, he's still going to be a run below Billy Cannon. He's still going to be a run below Joe Burrow. Fair or unfair, just because his team did not take home the championship. And as great as Jaden has been, as fun as this has been, watching this offense that we have not seen very much as LSU fans in the last 20 or so years, it's very frustrating because you had these 2 years of great offensive football. You had the best quarterback in the nation, but you were still not able to have that team success. So fair or unfair, I think he's going to be kind of a run below Billy Cannon, Joe Burrow, and the pantheon of LSU greats.
I think there's two different ways to look at the legacy for Jaden Daniels. There's obviously the way that I think people here will look at it, and also a national perspective on how he will be remembered. And we could start with how people here will look at it, because Taylor, you kind of brought it up a little bit when you're like, I wasn't that excited about it and whatnot. And when I was having this conversation yesterday afternoon and I asked for a lot of listener reaction on it, and a lot of people were like, as soon as he lifts it up, I'm going to be excited. There's always going to be that what if because the defense was so bad. And I understand that. But years from now, when people talk about the 2023 LSU Tigers, after Saturday night, it's always going to start with Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner in 2023. And then, the defense, man, what if, of course, but that's going to be second ancillary every time. What you will remember is him winning the Heisman Trophy. And when you look at it from a national perspective, he's going to be looked at as great as time passes. Everyone's going to fight about it right now, but 10 years from now, when the next quarterback's trying to win it with 3 losses, he's going to be in that same category as Lamar Jackson and how he's talked about now. Nobody cares about Louisville's shortcomings that year. Nobody cares about how bad Baylor's defense in 2011 was. They talk about how great Robert Griffin III was and how he was able to overcome that and win it. The same will happen with Jaden Daniels nationally. LSU fans, of course, you'll always, again, have that what if. And sure, many people will say Burrow and Billy Cannon, because both of those players won championships in their time at LSU. Jaden didn't, but it wasn't his fault. But again, when you look back at 2023, even as an LSU fan, it will always start with Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy that year, and he was sensational.
No, I agree, and I think he nailed it when you said, the next guy that's trying to do what Jaden did. I mean, what did we hear all year? Oh, nobody's ever thrown for 4,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 in the same year. And, with Jaden being a guy that's very likely going to do that, it's like, he's going to be the outlier. You're like, the next guy that they're like, oh, this is a statistical outlier season. Jaden Daniels is going to be brought up because he's in that line of a Lamar who didn't have the team success, but his numbers are so good. As far as here, I'm kind of in between both of you. Like, I agree with you that, like, in my eyes, it's not going to be as great just because of the championship, but Musso's right. Like, it's not his fault. And I was looking at it the other day because, like, I don't usually care about, like, jersey retirements and statues and all that, but it's like, should it's a conversation you have to have nonetheless. And it's like, should his jersey be retired? And originally I was like, nah, you know, that's reserved for people that have won national titles and Heismans. But, like, Tommy Casanova's name is in those rafters, and he didn't win a Heisman or a national championship, and he was a great player in his own right. But, I mean, I think Jaden is on his way for that. I mean, his name's going to be up there with Cannon, Burrow, and his name's up there, Casanova. I mean, he's going to be considered one of the greatest players to ever play here. I think that, yeah, while he didn't win a national championship, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, look at our great seasons. You may not think of this as the great season, but when you talk about players, I mean, he's going to be one of the first names out of everybody's mouth.
Where does that Alabama game from last season rank to y'all, like, for best LSU memories? Because here's the stat for you. Jaden Daniels, one of 2 LSU quarterbacks in history. Maybe I'm discounting the Michigan State days, but one of 2 LSU quarterbacks in history to defeat Nick Saban in Tiger Stadium. Jordan Jefferson did it in 2010. Then it was not done again until 2022, 12 years later by Jaden Daniels. And that, at least to me, was kind of his coming out party. I mean, he had some good games before that. The 2022 season was a good one for Jaden, but he seemed really in control, really comfortable within LSU's offense, taking off and running the football, obviously, but staying behind the line of scrimmage and picking them apart from the pocket as well. That game alone probably is a big part of his legacy because that was a big-time performance from Jaden Daniels, and that game will definitely be remembered in the history of LSU football.
I think that was his coming out party because, look, he was great last year. You look at his overall numbers, he was good. But if you guys remember watching him, like, he'd have a great game against Ole Miss. Then he would come out and not necessarily have a bad game, but just kind of an okay game, you know, kind of a pedestrian game. After Alabama, that didn't really happen anymore. I mean, he took off and just that was kind of the building block. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Oh, Burrow in the bowl game against UCF or the 7 overtime against Texas A&M. I think that Alabama game for Jaden Daniels is the same thing because it's like, oh, yeah, he's putting up numbers. Can he win a big-time game with the game on the line? He proved then that he could. And you're right about the beating Alabama at home. Like, Burrow beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa was great because you hadn't done it in like 8 years. But you still haven't seen it in Tiger Stadium in front of your home fans the way you did it. You go into overtime. You go for 2. He hits Mason Taylor. I mean, yeah, that's going to live up there with some of the top moments ever at LSU.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's his statement win. I mean, I don't think you can really quantify it and what it did for year 1 under Brian Kelly. I mean, it gave you the Western Division. So, I mean, yeah, that'll be one of the first games, if not the first game everybody points to. And the Florida game this past season will be up there too because he did something that literally nobody had ever done in the history of college football. So, anytime you do that, your legacy is going to live on for forever.
The Florida game was nuts. Like, y'all played NCAA football growing up when y'all are having a really good game with whatever team y'all are using. Those were literally the stats that Jaden Daniels put up in that game against Florida. Like, that was absolutely insane. And Florida, to their credit, kept it close, so Jaden kind of had to have that type of performance. But that was crazy, man, in a conference game. And I know Florida's down this year. We'll talk a little bit more about one of their running backs hitting the transfer portal later on in the show. But that was a big-time performance. And that, to me, was his Heisman moment. That and the Missouri game. The Missouri game, which LSU struggled in, they got down in, I believe, 17-0 early on, and Jaden just put him on his back. It sucked that it couldn't happen against Alabama. The targeting call was BS. I know people hate when you talk about the referees, but come on, man. That was an awful call, and it didn't happen in that game, but I'll always remember Missouri, and I'll always remember kind of his big moments this season.
He was hurt in that Missouri game, too. So, I mean, with the ribs and everything, yeah, that was definitely a big moment for him.
Again, we have coverage for tomorrow's Heisman ceremony, Heisman Watch for LSU's Jaden Daniels. We want to give you a front row seat live from Legends in New York City. Catch AFR with Matt Moscona today, Friday, 3 p.m., and Saturday, tomorrow, Matt hosts a Heisman preview show at 5 p.m. live on Eagle 98.1 and right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Remember that coverage brought to you locally by Acura Baton Rouge, Insurance Network of Louisiana, and Community Steel. All right, we will break. We'll recap the Thursday night football from yesterday. Taylor, very excited with Bailey Zappi's performance. That's coming up for you next here on OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find him on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly.
Join me for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Ready for Saints Panthers? Ready for LSU K-State? They're giving away a trophy in New York. We might as well talk about it. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Rolling on through here on a Friday edition of Off the Bench. T-Bob and Jake will both be back on Monday. Mario Jerez here hanging out with you till 10 a.m. Matt Musso on the audio board. Taylor Sharp getting us on YouTube. Talked a little Jaden Daniels in the last segment. We think he's taking home the Heisman Trophy. Should be a big deal if you're an LSU fan. Also have Week 14 in the NFL on deck. got started last night between the Patriots and the Steelers. It was a 21-18 win for the Patriots. The Steelers were favored by 6 points, but the Patriots go in, pull the upset in Pittsburgh. A big game for Bailey Zappi, 3 touchdown passes, although he did have an interception, and a bad loss for the Steelers, who dropped to 7-6. The Mitch Trubisky coming out party was not very successful. Sorry to T-Bob Baybear. I'm sure he was very disappointed down there in Orlando. Taylor, how much of this game did you watch? Because I know you were watching the Pelicans as well. And did you have any takeaways from Bailey Zappi's big performance?
I was kind of flipping back and forth, but I mean, once the Pelicans game got out of hand, I basically watched the entire second half. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Mitch played bad." I mean, it's Mitch Trubisky. He kind of played like I expected. He wasn't horrible. 22 of 35, 190 yards. He had a touchdown. He did throw a pick, but he had a rushing touchdown as well. Their problem, once again, was their inability to run the football, Mario. They averaged 2.9 yards per carry. And when you have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren in the backfield, that's a huge issue because both of those guys are talented runners. So, I mean, yeah, Mitch wasn't great, but he was kind of their entire offense. He was their leading rusher last night with 30 yards rushing. I mean, they had 82 as a team. That's been an issue for them all year. My issue really wasn't the Pittsburgh offense, though. We've kind of expected that. It was the defense. I mean, their defense has been kind of a top half of the NFL defense, and Bailey Zappi lit them up. And while I like Bailey Zappi, I think he's a better quarterback than Mac Jones. He's not an all-pro. I mean, he's not a guy that you're going to be like, oh, he's a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, I think he could be a decent player in his career. I think he's shown some promise. But, I mean, dude, he goes 65% completion percentage, 240, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he absolutely torched the Pittsburgh defense, and they've kind of lived and died based on that defense this year. So that was really disappointing. And I was telling Musso before the game, before the show this morning, after the game, they showed a stat on the little post-game desk that they do every Thursday night. Pittsburgh's the only team in NFL history to have a winning record and lose to a 2-10 football team in back-to-back weeks. 2 weeks ago, they're 7-4.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have the Cardinals and we have the Patriots at home. We're about to be 9-4, right there in the thick of the AFC. Now you're 7-6. You lose to 2-10 football teams in back-to-back weeks. So this is not just, oh, you lost to New England by 3. I mean, there's a lot deeper issues in Pittsburgh right now.
Matt Canada sipping scotch somewhere, saying probably could have used some more shifts last night.
I want to see where Bailey Zappi goes from here now. I mean, that's really the only thing of intrigue. Patriots are obviously out of it, and Taylor, you're right. I mean, maybe he's not a top 15 quarterback in the league, but 2 good performances the last 2 weeks, one in a loss, one in a win. Obviously, the win was a huge jump up from 52% to 68% completion, 141 yards to 240, no touchdowns to 3. But the more he's in the offense as the guy, can he grow in it? Can he prove that maybe he can take the next step as a player in this league? Now, look, it's not going to get easy. They have the Chiefs next week. They have a game against the Bills coming up as well. So, I mean, the schedule and the Broncos. So the schedule doesn't do them any favors, but that's kind of really what I want to see there because, I mean, look, I think he's a better option than Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is probably a backup quarterback in this league. I understand that some have really criticized the Patriots and how they've handled Jones and what kind of quarterback could have success with what they're doing with no weapons on the outside, Bill O'Brien on the play call. But, I mean, Bailey Zappi just showed you that it is capable in that offense. So where can he go from here? Not obviously, you're not sitting here crowning him as the next great guy, but can he take further steps in his career?
And I was doing that. I was counting him as the next great guy because we covered him actually pretty hard when we had the show a couple years ago, Musso, during early line, because he was lighting it up for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, he broke Joe Burrow's touchdown pass record in a single season.
He did 62 touchdown passes in 2021, 5,987 passing yards that season. And he came in his first start and played pretty well. He had the viral moment when he was sitting on the bench singing Stacy's Mom Has Got It Going On. And like I said, I kind of felt prisoner of the moment. I picked him up in fantasy. I was like, oh, my goodness, this player I've been following for so long now in the NFL. Maybe not so, but he's definitely benefiting from the experience, and it's a good opportunity with Matt Jones, like y'all are saying, as a starting quarterback. So maybe he, ushers in the next great era for New England. Not going to be this season, but for a tough year over there in Boston, New England, whatever the region is, it could maybe be a small glimmer of hope, whether or not they keep Bill Belichick. And as we wrap up this segment, I will ask y'all, do y'all think his job is safe? Because he is Bill Belichick, but the writing's kind of on the wall. His hirings haven't been good. His kind of offensive philosophy and what he wants to do, both sides of the ball, really hasn't been good. I'm not sure he's still going to be the Patriots coach.
All season long, I was like, there's no way he's in any danger of losing his job. He's Bill Belichick. He obviously has a longer leash than other coaches. He has 6 Super Bowl rings. Shout out to Tom Brady. We can thank him for those. But I think it really depends on what he does the rest of the season with Bailey Zappi. Like Musso said, it's like you want to see what he can do in this offense, but also you want to see if Belichick can build on this. I mean, you want to see if he can salvage the rest of this season. I'm not saying do anything crazy, but win 5 games. I mean, get 2-3 more victories, whatever you have to do, and show signs of life on offense, because that's what I like the most. Like, he didn't light it up last night. He was really good, but he showed that he could actually run Bill O'Brien's offense, which is something Mac Jones could not do. So how do you finish the rest of the season? What does Bailey Zappi look like? Do you feel confident moving forward with a guy like Bailey Zappi? I think that all depends on Bill Belichick's future in New England.
I don't think he's back. I think he's done.
Fair. I mean, not just the record, but like I said, his hirings, kind of how he's trying to do things.
The stubbornness is strong right now, and he's always been stubborn. But he's got his hands in too much there, and without Tom Brady, it hasn't worked the way it should.
Well, and they've never invested money in receivers. I mean, you look at it, but to Musso's point, he's always been stubborn. You didn't have to invest money into receivers. You didn't have to have a stud running back. You had Tom freaking Brady under center. Like, you don't have that anymore. You're trying to run the same system, but you don't have the same players to do it. I mean, what did we talk about the other day when Hester was here? It's like the Saints were like, well, we've been doing this for 17 years. Yeah. We've had a lot of success. You don't have Breeze and Peyton anymore. Like, you don't have Tom Brady anymore. You can't keep doing this. And Belichick so far has shown the inability to make changes and get away from his old ways. But you got Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi instead of Tom Brady.
Yeah, and that's human nature, I guess. That's true of relationships and stuff that you were able to do that you appreciated with other people, you can't do with certain people. Different strokes for different folks. That's definitely true as a football coach. And that's one thing I really admired about Sean Payton towards the end of his NOLA career. It was a lot of younger players. He had to do things a lot differently, even with Breeze, his arm strength declining, and he was able to adapt. Not seeing much of that with Bill Belichick in New England, but they did get the win last night. So props to the Patriots. They improved to 3-10. The Steelers, of course, still have a winning record, 7-6, but they fall 21-18 last night at Heinz Field. It's not Heinz Field anymore, is it? Whatever the name of the stadium is over there in Pittsburgh. Everything's so corporate these days. All right. We will take one more break. We'll come back. We will talk a little bit more NFL, I suppose. Maybe get into this Sean McDermott story, which is kind of wild. Stay tuned. This is Off the Bench on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to ktzblinds.com, k2zblinds.com. That's KTOZblinds.com. I told you yesterday I am incredibly excited. I'm about to have my backyard is about to get that upgrade that I'm talking about, right? We're about to get our screen that's going to help us block out the sun, block out the bugs, change kind of our space depending on what we want. Like if we want more shade, if we want to open it up, it's just a press of one single button, and that's going to happen. And for us, right, well, Brandon came out, and I just assumed you were going to give us a shade to keep the bugs out. It was going to be pretty thin. There was going to be one color to choose from, probably going to be a black screen. When he came in, and it was like 5 minutes, by the way, he knew exactly what we needed. Said, no, the sun sets here. If you want to block out that sun, you're going to need this screen, and you're going to need this one in this area, right? And he measured it, no time at all. And also, I got to choose what color. Had no idea there was going to be multiple options. Had them come out today. Go to the website, k2zblinds.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving
the Dome. It's state championship week in high school football, and we get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. And at 7, it's the select Division I state championship game between the Catholic High Bears and Acadiana Wrecking Rams. All right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, pretty much done hour number 1 here on OTB. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp hanging out with you here today. Pretty much a producer takeover, as T-Bob and Jake will both be back on Monday. Talked a little NFL in the last segment. Interesting report out of Buffalo. So according to Go Long, which is the name of the website, Bills head coach Sean McDermott told players in a speech back in 2019 to come together, and he used the terrorists at 9/11 as an example, asked players in the room questions about how the attacks were executed, referenced the hijackers getting on the same page. Multiple players who were there with the team confirmed this to ESPN. Others said they didn't remember it. Maybe that's just what they told them. That's kind of crazy. I see what McDermott is going for there. I kind of see the message that he's trying to portray, but that is not a very good example, especially considering the geography of this, the Bills being a team based in New York. That is kind of crazy. Again, I get what he's going for, but not a very good idea, and very convenient for him that while his team is struggling, 6-6, not living up to expectations, this comes to light. So not a good look for Sean McDermott.
Yeah, not a good look, especially when you coach a team that is in New York. I don't know why he thought this was a good idea. Yeah. There are so many other ones you could use. I mean, you could use the Miracle on Ice hockey team that overcame a lot of odds and came together. You could go to the movie The Little Giants. I know you don't want to reference the Giants because they are in the same city as you, but I don't really understand why he was like, I'm going to use the terrorist on 9/11. And after that speech, he's like, oh, crushed it. He felt good about that. I don't really know like what he thought was going to happen, how he didn't think there was going to be any negative blowback. Look, I think Sean McDermott's a pretty good coach. I know he's taken a lot of heat. I like Sean McDermott, but I mean, bad move there. Really bad move.
Yeah, not good. Any thoughts, Musso?
I mean, yeah, I just wouldn't use the greatest tragedy on American soil in the history of the country to motivate a football team.
Over the hedge, when all the animals came together to steal the food, he could have used over the hedge, man.
There's so many like survival stories too, like people having to work together. I remember the rugby team from what was it, Uruguay, that got in a plane crash or a helicopter crash, whatever it was, and a lot of them died, unfortunately, but a lot of them were able to survive, and it was because of teamwork and camaraderie and all this stuff. So just so many other examples that McDermott could have used there, and it has not been a good season for the Bills, but they still have some time. They still have a lot of games left, and I'm interested to see how Leonard Fournette can impact that team. I know they picked him up off the practice squad. He hasn't got much run, but I feel like between the tackles, he could be a little bit of help. I know defensively they need to improve. Some bad injuries to that team that I don't think are talked about enough, Taylor. Matt Milano, a really underrated player in my opinion, and we all know what Trey White can do. Unfortunately, he's had injury problems since he's been with that team, so not looking too good for the Buffalo Bills.
No, and this was a team that had a really good secondary with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Poyer's he's battled some injuries as well. That team's battered on the defensive side.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to get it together. But interesting story there about Sean McDermott. All right, that'll do it for hour number 1. We'll kick off hour number 2 with Big Fave Marlon Favorite. Hello, somebody. He'll join the show on the other side of this break. We'll be here till 10 a.m. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp. This is Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Yeah. Well, they're like, Rich Rod at West Virginia, a game away from the natty.
It's true.
I can't believe it. Go to Patient Plus Urgent Care.
It all
Patient
worked
Plus,
out for you.
Yeah, right? PatientPlusUC.com, where you will see the difference. Quality care for life's unexpected moments. Also great commercials and great mascot with that little puppet. I love that little puppet. But look, it's not about games, okay? This is about your health. It's about getting in, get better. There's colds going around, stomach bugs going around. You and your family need the treatment you deserve. Go to Patient Plus Urgent Care. You're going to see the difference. PatientPlusUC.com.
T-Bob's right. You will see the difference as soon as you walk into any of the facilities, right? It's not like they have just one main facility and the rest of them aren't up to par. I mean, they all are going to blow you away. So any that you walk into, remember there's one that's convenient for you in the Baton Rouge area. No matter where you're at, find the location that is nearest you. You can do that at PatientPlusUC.com. Get in and get better.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. $20,000 off plus no payments for 90 days on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infinity Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. on Friday, December the 8th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see cloudy skies with a high of 72. Still to come on Off the Bench, former LSU Tiger Marlon Favorite joins the show next. Carter Bryant stops by at 9 a.m. We'll still preview Saints-Panthers in the Dome on Sunday. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench starts right now.
Let we go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
What's up, people? Happy Friday. Welcome into another edition of Off the Bench. Mario Jerez here filling in for T-Bob and Hester. Matt Musso on the audio board. Taylor Sharp getting us on YouTube. These guys also pretty much my co-hosts here today. You heard the rundown there from Matt. We'll preview Saints-Panthers. We'll talk to Carter in the third hour. Talk a little Jaden Daniels as well, as he's set to win the Heisman Trophy tomorrow afternoon. Please continue to talk to me in the Bayou 4 chat. A lot of people messing with me about being a serial killer. That's fair, given the fact that my Avi on Twitter there is a bloody knife. Fun story. Danny Cardenas, former producer of the show, made that my Avi one day. I kind of just never changed it. But, yeah, still appreciate all the interaction in the Bayou 4 chat. We'll get to Marlon Favorite in a moment. But before we do, let's hear from our friends over at Skull Axe Throwing.
Remember, this segment's brought to you by Skull Axe Throwing. Go see them off of Lee, right next to Mike Anderson's. Go to their website. Go ahead. Remember, you can book this 7 days a week. Go to gcaxe.com, and you can check out the menu, right? You can check out all the different things that they offer over at Skull. You can book now as well. So if you want to go ahead and book in the future, make sure that you get that stall ready and available to you, right? No matter if you got guys night, girls night, date night, whatever it might be, go try them out. Skull Axe Throwing, again. Go to the website, book that appointment. It's right off of Lee next to Mike Anderson's, gcaxe.com.
All right, shout out to Skull. Can't wait to go check it out with the whole crew here. Big Fave, have you ever thrown any axes, my friend?
I haven't thrown any axes, but that sounds like something that'll be fun. Hello.
Yes, it looks like a lot of fun. Can't wait to go try it with Taylor and T-Bob and Jake when they get back. Big Fave, appreciate you waking up with us, man. A lot of stuff to talk to you about here today. We talked a little bit of Jaden Daniels. I want to talk to you about the LSU defensive line and one player specifically that really hasn't lived up to expectations. But before we get to any of that, I did want to get your take on the Final Four in the college football playoff rankings. We've been asking all our guests what they've thought. It's pretty much universal. A lot of people upset about Alabama getting in, Florida State getting left out. What did you think of Alabama getting into the top 4 there?
I thought the committee made the wrong decision by adding Alabama in. I do understand that they were the SEC champion. Historically speaking, the SEC has been the more dominant conference for us. So I would understand in past years, but this year we wasn't as dominant as we normally are. So to just say, oh, the SEC champion, get in. Because, I mean, I asked everybody that I talked to about this, look at it from a logical standpoint, from a realistic standpoint. There wasn't a situation where it was Liberty or Tulane. And I'm not picking on Tulane. I love Tulane. I thought over the past couple of years they've done an exceptional job. But their schedule is a bit weaker. You know, you got Army, Navy, these couple of schools, than your typical ACC schedule. I mean, they still had to play, in regard to Florida State, they still had to play Clemson. They still had to play us. et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, it's just one of those situations where I think Florida State, they did everything right and they got left out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and the tweet from Jordan Travis just had to break your heart, basically saying, straight up saying, I wish I would have broke my leg sooner so you could see what this team could do. Like, it should not be that way. And there's definitely a lot more support for a 12-team playoff now, which I guess is good. But shifting the conversation back over to LSU, big fave. Jaden Daniels set to win the Heisman Trophy tomorrow. I think it's just a formality at this point, but what do you think his legacy will be at LSU, a place that has had great quarterbacks? They had a run there where it was really tough. Offense was kind of in the mud, but we've had Joe Burrow recently. We now have Jaden Daniels, and you have the perspective too, big fave, of playing with some of those guys. You were on the field with Matt Flynn. You were on the field with Jamarcus Russell. And it's really impressive what Jaden's been able to do, not just with production, but being a leader, with this new coaching staff in its second year. Fair or unfair, what do you think Jaden's legacy will be at LSU? Because he did all this great work individually, but the defense kind of kept him back. And at the end of the day, the two bowl destinations he will have played in, if he even plays in a couple of weeks, will be the Citrus Bowl and the ReliaQuest Bowl. So do you still think Jaden Daniels will have that legacy on par with the Joe Burrows, with the Billy Cannons, or do you maybe put him a run below that because he didn't have the team success?
I would put him right in that mix with Joe Burrow, because here's how I look at it. And a lot of folks, some people in Baton Rouge might feel like this is blasphemy, but Joe Burrow really didn't outdo Jaden Daniels like that. I mean, if you look at between the ears, his mobility, yeah. But if you look at what Jaden was inherited as opposed to what Joe Burrow was inherited, I mean, you got Derek Stingley, Christian Fulton, Grant Delpit, Kerry Benson. You had decent pass rushers like Caleb Von Chasson. You had Patrick Queen, starting linebacker in the NFL. He had not the best defense. I mean, let's keep it real. Ole Miss still put up a 50 burger on us, but we just put up 70. So the high-powered offense was that. Jaden was on pace. I mean, this offense had scored 13 touchdowns in a row at one point. Every series they went out there, they scored. So I think his legacy, I mean, we got to get little homie a little statue too because of the prolific offense he was able to run. I mean, and what he was inherited defense. I mean, historically, this LSU defense stinks. It was D-Rob terrible. It wasn't good at all. Whereas Joe Burrow had a sturdy defense. I thought the way he ran his system, I wasn't a super fan of it, but it still ran with efficiency, and we were able to make stops on defense. You give Jaden Daniels Joe Burrow's defense, and even though it was an okay defense, I think we're in the top four right now. He's competing for a national champion. He get the Heisman. He win it. Now what? He had more rushing yards than Joe Burrow. He damn near eclipsed his passing yards. Joe Burrow had 60 touchdowns. He had 50. I mean, Jaden Daniels arguably is 1A, 1B quarterback at LSU history.
Yes, that's fair. I mean, the production is there, and I want to ask you, Big Fave is our guest, by the way, Marlon Favorite, joining us here on Off the Bench, former LSU D lineman, current member of the LSU Sports Radio Network, and I want to talk to you about your position there, Big Fave, defensive line. Before we get more in detail, straight up, just black and white, do you think Mason Smith comes back to LSU, or do you think that he tests the NFL waters?
He should most certainly, 10 out of 10, everybody raise your hand. Come back to LSU. You will rob yourself of a first-round draft pick if you go into the draft right now. You have no production. You have 1.5 sacks. You have damn near single-digit solo tackles. It makes no sense to go to the draft right now. Listen, this kid is larger than life. I can't wait to work with him in the off season and work with him as he prepared for the draft when that day comes. But it just doesn't need to be 2024. 2025, yeah. Go do numbers. Because at the end of the day, and I hope some of these kids listen to this because I really want them to get this message. Are y'all crazy? Like, are we really talking about this? Like, y'all actually have NIL deals. Man, I watched Glenn Darcy, and I said this on the show before. stared $20 million down the barrel and came back to LSU and won a national championship. He's not ready. And Glenn had the numbers in the top 20 potential. But he know he needed a little work, and guess what? It saved him 15 rounds. 15 picks in the first round. So no, Mason Smith. Who is saying this? What scout is out here saying this? The conversation about this kid going to the league is crazy to me. I almost thought Jaquelin Roy going was crazy last year. I talked to him and his family too. But at least he had some productivity in years of it. His freshman year, he got some playing time. Sophomore year, he kind of did his thing. LSU wasn't doing so hot. And then his junior year, voila! And then he goes fifth round. Man, Mason Smith, that would be the biggest mistake that child make if he goes to the NFL this year. He definitely needs to come back, develop, get better, learn how to play with your hands. Nobody from Georgia State should win with inside hands and block you, and you miss a tackle. Talking about going play in the NFL. It's just ludicrous if you ask me.
All right, I'm really glad I asked the question. It's pretty much just speculation. He hasn't declared, he hasn't said otherwise, but everybody I'm sure that's listening, watching right now is shaking their hands in approval, Big Fave, and a lot of it's bad circumstances. Number one, the injuries. Number two, what happened with Jamar Cain, the former LSU D-line coach, just bad timing, getting hired away by the Broncos. That didn't help Mason Smith, but assuming he does come back, you went into it a little bit there in his fundamentals, but what do you think he needs to improve on that he can control to get back to that all-star, five-star, first-round potential?
First and foremost, he might be the first D tackle off the board next year. 2025, not 2024. He needs to work on hand placement. He needs to work on pad level. He pops up at the point of contact way too much. He needs to work on getting offensive guys off of his pads, meaning reuse your hands. Come with a chop move. Come with some type of a swat. Anything to move the needle on these offensive linemen. Look, I heard of this boy in the spring ball. They couldn't run plays. They had to stop practice sometime because Mason was just so dominant on against the offensive line. But when the lights come on, you got to do it. So he needs to work on consistency. The numbers aren't there. If this kid, he's already larger than life. If he works on his technique, if he works on a better pass rush, and if he learns how to be an interior defensive lineman, because he's not an outside defensive lineman. Let me clear this up for our listeners. He is not a defensive end unless you're going to run a true 3-4, meaning he would be the head of 4 over the tackle or the head of 0 over the center. Those are the only times he should ever play in as the 4-4. If you're running a 4-3 defense, you cannot put him at the 5 technique. He is not Tyson Jackson. He is not Cam Jordan. He is big. He's big boy from Philly. He the 2 boys from Philly that played at Georgia. That's who he is. When developed. Yep. Carter and Davis. Davis could sing too. I don't know if he can sing as good as me, but he can.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But all right, one more on the LSU defense here. I did want to ask you about the Saints before we wrapped up. But who are you excited for? I should say, when it comes to the future of the LSU D line? You went out of your way yesterday to text me. I forgot to give you the shout out, but Savion Jones has been a dog at LSU. Brayton Swinson to me has really stood out, Big Fave, really throughout the season. Not able to get home, not able to get too many sacks, but somebody who's really good off the edge, really good at fighting off of blocks. It feels like he has some major potential as well. So who are you excited for in that group as far as developing and maybe reaching their ceiling next season?
2 guys. I think Jordan Jefferson was our most consistent interior defensive lineman this year. Like, if we honestly look at this, when Mingo went down, he really was the guy. So I would say him, and then Savion Jones. I think Savion he reminds me more of Tyson. Has that tall frame, a little wide, and can play the true DN. I think Savion has the potential to be a top rounder as well. This was a year I actually saw him develop. Like, he was putting up some numbers. He was creating and Rick Abbott on that defensive front. So I do think that most improved for next year. I think Savion should be in that conversation, and then definitely Jordan Jefferson.
Okay, I lied. One more LSU question about the defense. There's a lot of dialogue around Matt House right now. I tend to think that maybe he should keep the job. That's just my opinion. I think that LSU did a lot better job attacking the transfer portal last year, getting better personnel. And this year, the schematics, the scheme definitely could have been better. I'm not saying he doesn't need to improve, but I think I put it more on the players, more on execution. How would you kind of evaluate Matt House this season, and should LSU fans want him to stay the defensive coordinator? Big Fave. Hello, somebody.
Hello, somebody.
There we go.
Hello, somebody. I honestly think that that if you look at the production of the defense and you're the D coordinator, it's only natural for you to take the butt of that. And I know it's a hard decision. Now, was he responsible for the hire of his secondary? He couldn't control a secondary coach. He couldn't control the fact that his defensive line coach got sick, and then we had coach go to none of that was basically at his control. So do we give him another year? I'm pretty sure Coach Kelly talks to his defensive coordinator about the major obvious changes that needs to happen to this defense. But you may have a situation if that change doesn't happen. I can see BK in the middle of next season firing him because, all right, cool, this wasn't on you. Adapt and adjust. So let's see some changes. All right, we're going to go to – you have to look at your personnel at your madhouse. Okay, I got Big Mason Smith, George Jefferson coming back, and Savion. All right, should I switch to a 3-4 defense for productivity, or should I recruit and get guys to come in to run the 4-man front I want to run? That's the question for him. Am I going to properly use Harold Perkins? Like, if Harold Perkins has another non-productive year this year, that's something to seriously look at because we saw what this kid was worth raw. So I think that's something we should seriously consider.
Well said. I agree. Before we get you out of here, Big Fave, let's get a thought on the New Orleans Saints. I believe you were on the team the year that they won the Super Bowl, which means you were there when Dennis Allen was on staff. And I tell people all the time, I feel bad that stuff is going this poorly with Dennis because he was such a good DC for a long time. Like, you could argue he was Peyton's best defensive coordinator, although the Saints were not able to win a Super Bowl with those two guys. But it feels like it's going off the rails a little bit, Big Fave. I feel like a lot of the Who Dat Nation wants the Saints to lose this game on Sunday to the Panthers just so you have more justification of firing this coaching staff and kind of ripping off this Band-Aid. How would you put into words what's going on with the Saints right now? And do you think Dennis Allen has any opportunity to right this sinking ship?
Well, I'll start with when I was with New Orleans. I was only on the team for 4 weeks. He knows that secondary. And look at the New Orleans teams over the years when given the right players. He's run a productive defense. He's a good coordinator. I think the realization that most guys like Coach Allen has to come into realization about, am I really a head coach, or do I run the ship better as a defensive coordinator? Or will I let my ego and pride get in the way and say, I'm going to continue to run this ship the way I want to run it because I feel like this works? And by the way, all y'all shut up because y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all are quote-unquote naysayers, right? All of that type of attitude will get you kicked out of the door. Because at the end of the day, what this city has become accustomed to is winning. Even on the bad years, having a decent record, right? Scoring points. So it's not a time, let's be honest, that place fills up with ticket sales and advertising. The fans aren't happy. You heard of Mario when Derek Carr went out there. Boo! Boo! That's the fans talking. And then on the flip side, when Taysom Hill goes out there, yay, claps and cheers. Yeah, the money is talking, baby. Hello, somebody. Listen. So at the end of the day, he does have a chance to right the ship. Man, the rest of your schedule is easy like it's been the whole year.
That's the thing. It's been that way the whole year, and they're not taking advantage, man. It's consistently inconsistent.
Chicago almost came beat us with a 7th-round draft pick. Like, these things are really happening. We lose to Baker Mayfield. I mean, look at the teams we lose to and how they move forward. We didn't have to go against Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We didn't have to see any of those lethal quarterbacks, and we still can't win. So, yes, for bad decisions, you could put yourself in a position to lose your job because at the end of the day, if we ain't winning, we ain't spending. So, hey, bro, I wish as my old ball coach, you know, I said what's happened to him during the preseason. I did a little interview question with him. We talked. As we would sit down, Super Bowl champion to Super Bowl champion, hey, man, turn it around. I done seen Ed Ogeron make good hires. I done seen Les Miles make good hires. You got to do what you got to do to make that team more productive, you know, and it starts at that quarterback position. So I think they can turn it around. You got an easy schedule. You can win. You can finish out, what, 8 and what they can finish out? What, 9
5
and 8?
and 7. Yeah, you can still go 9 and 8.
You can still go 9 and 8. That might win your division, get you in the playoffs.
Go ahead.
It's just not likely. You know, it just doesn't look that way to us. That's all.
No, it don't. And I appreciate the optimism, Big Fave. Maybe you're right, but they got to get it together. They've been, like I said, just consistently inconsistent, and it's been pretty depressing. But we appreciate the insight. We appreciate you giving us a few minutes, man. I promise I will collect those Small Sliders gift cards from you sometime really soon, Big Fave, all right?
We got to do it, baby. That's where I'm going to be at. From 12 to 1 today, Small Sliders, on that West Bank of New Orleans. If y'all listen and come through.
Hell yeah. West Bank, best bank. Thanks a lot, Big Fave. Have a good weekend, bro.
You too, my brother.
Yes, sir. Big Fave. Always appreciate him coming on. Really interesting perspective there with Mason Smith. I thought he really kept it real there, and we'll see what happens with the rest of LSU's defensive line. Some real potential there, but you know the rest of the unit needs to get better. Got to not give up 700 yards to Ole Miss, and a lot of progress for them to make next season. But hey, I guess nowhere to go but up for that group. So appreciate a few minutes from Marlon Favorite. We'll come back and talk some Saints-Panthers, give you a preview of that game. This is OTB, Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
CommunitySteelCo.com is the website. Go there today for all of your steel needs. If you're, trying to erect a metal building, if you're trying to get a metal roof, right? That's in vogue now. Well, they can help you with that. Just trim, right? You want to outfit your space with metal trim. They can certainly help you there. Whatever your steel needs are, they're going to be able to help you at Community Steel. And they're going to be able to help you right now, like today. You know why? Because they don't have to call someone in Houston. They don't have to call somebody in Dallas. They don't have to call somebody in Austin or Atlanta or wherever. They're right here in Gonzales, Louisiana. They've got their new website up, and it tells you that. It's one of the things we love about them. They want you to know that they're here. They're local. They can help you today. Like when you call the number, it's not 888, right? It's 225. That's the area code. 225-647-2020. Talk with Community Steel today. Go see them in Gonzales, Louisiana. Go see them online, CommunitySteelCo.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Wheels Up to New York City. Musso will drive you home. He'll have Mike Triplett and the latest in the transfer portal, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
This is hour number 2 of OTB. Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, Matt Musso hanging out with you till 10 a.m. T-Bob and Jake will be back on Monday, and when they do get back, we will recap this Saints-Panthers matchup inside of the Superdome on Sunday. The Saints 5-7 on the year, still right in the thick of things of the NFC South. It'll probably be that way for the rest of the year. And the Panthers come in hobbling just a little bit. Carolina 1-10. They already fired their head coach, who was in his first season, and their rookie number 1 quarterback, Bryce Young, who was the number 1 overall pick in this past draft, really struggled, not just on the field with production, but it looks like with his confidence as well. And this is a matchup that's been pretty close the last couple of years when it probably should not have been. A very unstable organization. We know David Tepper has already ran through 3 coaches since he's gotten there, including Ron Rivera, who is the most successful coach in the history of that franchise. But this has still been a competitive series. They split it in 2021. They split it against last year. The last meeting was this season. The Saints won 20-17, but that game was way too close for my liking. And the Saints 2-0 start seems like a lifetime ago. But the Panthers still bring a couple of challenges coming into this game. They still have some guys on defense. And matter of fact, they still rank 7th in the NFL in total defense. They are 23rd against the run, so maybe the Saints could take advantage there, but still 4th in the NFL against the pass. That is a stat that honestly kind of jumped off the page to me. I didn't know Carolina was that good against the pass this season, but they're facing a very, very struggling Saints offense. And the Saints defensively really, really, really need to get off to a fast start in this game. That's something they have not been able to do all season. Like Musso, you cut a lot of Dennis Allen sound. I know you remember 3 weeks ago when he was...
Unfortunately.
Exactly. You remember maybe like 3 weeks or like a month ago. It might have been after the Jacksonville game. Dennis Allen was like, we need to pretend it's halftime at the start of games defensively. But time and time again, we see opening drive touchdowns. We see the Saints look sluggish on Dennis Allen's side of the ball, defense, not even talking about offense, and that's a trend that needs to improve. Hopefully it does against this hapless Carolina team.
So, you know what I think about that? I think one of the reasons the Saints defense is struggling and starting slow and just things of that nature. I mean, you could point to a lot of things. They're aging in a lot of their most important positions. I mean, Cam Jordan, love him. He's getting up there. DeMario Davis, love him. He's getting up there. Tyrann Mathieu, love him. He's getting up there. And I mean, look, you could go on and on. I just picked those 3. They're 3 of the biggest 3. But I'll tell you this. I think it's overload for Dennis Allen. I think he's trying to do too much. I think he's got too much on his plate. I think it's that simple. You've seen it in multiple other cases at times. I mean, there's no other explanation outside of, again, potentially aging issues and things of that nature. But when they're doing the same exact thing that they have been, when he's, running the defense the same way he has been, it points to other things going wrong. When you're the head coach and calling a defense and in charge of that defense still, there's a lot more that goes into that than you just being the defensive coordinator. And I think there's a little too much on his plate with all of it together.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, Mario. He's not shown the ability to delegate. And that's a lot what you have to do as a head coach. Like Musso was saying, he has too much on his plate. If he could just worry about the defensive side of the football, he's a great defensive coach. We saw him be a good coordinator here. You could tell that he's not doing that. I mean, he's trying to dip his hand in the offense, which is a big reason why they're struggling. I mean, obviously, Pete Carmichael's not great either, but Dennis Allen right now seems like he's trying to spread himself way too thin. If he could just focus on the defensive side of the football and at least get one part of your team elite. I mean, they were elite at the beginning of the year. Even they've gotten worse. There's probably no helping the offense at this point in the season. I mean, let's just accept that and move on. But your defense is what was keeping you in ball games. Now they're getting off to a slow start as well. If you could just focus on the defensive side of the ball, that'll help this team a lot more.
And the injuries have added up. The Saints had really good injury luck to start the season, and I knew it with Lattimore and Thomas specifically. Like having those guys on the field, it just hadn't happened that much the last few years, and the Saints did not utilize it at all. And Marshawn Lattimore, as good as he is, I know we appreciate him, but it still feels like he's a little underrated, like around league circles, because you see the drop-off. Guys that had been playing great, looking at you, Alontae Taylor, are not playing at the same level since Marshawn Lattimore went down. And you're not going to have him in this game, unfortunately, and that injury list continuing to grow at kind of the worst time. DMP for Rashid Shaheed yesterday again. Kendre Miller also didn't practice, according to the latest injury report. You did have Cam Jordan, but it was in a limited fashion. He played, 17 snaps the last game. We'll see if he plays a little bit more this time around. And Taysom Hill and Isaiah Foskey both did not practice. Taysom Hill, I feel like, is the only reason a lot of people are still going to these games in the Superdome. If he can't go, that's a big problem for the New Orleans Saints. But offensively, unfortunately, I expect them to continue to struggle. Whatever the under is in this game, I would probably go with that from a betting standpoint. But if the Saints are going to turn this season around, it's going to be unexciting. You're playing the Panthers and the Giants the next couple of weeks. Fans won't get too pumped up. But for that locker room to get pumped up again, if they're going to turn this season around, the defense needs to eat against a really bad Carolina team, against a rookie quarterback that's struggling right now. And it hurts to not have Marshawn, but this is really an opportunity for the Saints defense to have some success. And if they can't against this team, then that's a big, big cause for concern.
Yeah, the issue that the Carolina Panthers are going to have on the opposite side, we don't know what's going to happen with Adam Thielen. Like, he didn't practice yesterday. They called it non-injury rest day, but he was banged up in the last game. I understand he hasn't been elite this year, but he has 800 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. He's the best player on their offense. I mean, he's basically been their only consistent receiving threat all year long. And since he's drawing so much attention now, that's opened things up a little bit for a young guy like a Jonathan Mingo. If Adam Thielen can't go, that's going to help the Saints DBs a lot, because Bryce Young, while he hasn't been good at all, he does have nice chemistry with Adam Thielen. He goes to him early, he goes to him often. I think Thielen's leaning towards playing. That's the word right now, but it's still very much up in the air, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to. Thielen's been a Saints killer, even with Lattimore on him. I actually picked him up on my fantasy team. I told you about that. If T-Bob was here, he'd be cursing me because we don't talk about our fantasy teams. But all the receivers there besides him have kind of been underwhelming. And I don't know if y'all have kept up with this, but a lot of Panthers fans are really upset at our guy, DJ Chark, who's also over there, has had kind of an underwhelming season himself. But in a media availability after their last game, by the way, DJ Chark, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Panthers this season, was talking about Bryce Young and a 4th down play. And basically, Bryce Young thought that the opponent was in cover 0. They were not in cover 0, according to DJ Chark. He checked to a quick pass, like a behind the line of scrimmage pass to DJ. He got tackled immediately for no gain, turnover on downs, no win, right? For the Panthers, they lose the game. And after the game, DJ Chark basically says, they were not in cover 0. He kind of threw his rookie quarterback under the bus. And I'm not trying to get on DJ Chark. The point I'm trying to make is there's just a lot of dysfunction, a lot of finger pointing within that organization right now. Diana Rossini had a really good write-up on The Athletic where she kind of compared it to the Hunger Games. You had Frank Reich not really in good communication with his coaches. You had assistants texting the owner behind his back. And all this is a terrible environment for a rookie quarterback, right? And Bryce Young, I know you weren't very high on him coming in, Taylor. He deserves a lot of flack himself, but it's not a good environment for him to be in, especially as a rookie, especially when you have these massive expectations. Like, they traded DJ Moore to get you. That was their best player throughout the David Tepper era by far, and it's not living up to expectations. You combine that with what's going on organizationally, that's just a really, really bad environment. But somehow I feel like going to the Superdome is like a get right for everybody right now.
It could be. Look, I have made my opinion on Bryce Young very well known on the show. Anybody who listens to it knows that I am not a Bryce Young fan at all. I thought the Carolina Panthers made a huge mistake taking him number 1 overall, but the Panthers have not done him any favors. Bryce Young's not a drop-back passer. That's never been what he is. He's one of those guys more like a Caleb Williams or Mahomes at times, although Mahomes is great at everything. But he's a guy that you need to get out on the move that's really good at improv, and they're not asking him to do that. They put him under center a lot, which is something that he's not comfortable with. He never did it at Alabama. They're trying to make him that traditional pro-style drop-back passer. That's just not who he is. So while I don't think Bryce Young is going to be a very good NFL quarterback, I could be very wrong on that. He could improve. He's not in the greatest situation either. And I know people are going to say, well, neither is C.J. Stroud, and C.J. Stroud has his team on the brink of the playoffs. First off, I think Stroud's better than Bryce Young, but at least that team is putting him in position to succeed. They are playing to C.J. Stroud's strengths. I don't think the Panthers are doing that at all with Bryce Young.
What say you, Musso? Or what do you think of Bryce Young? And I don't know how high you are coming on him or not. Do you put more blame on him or more, I guess, on the organization?
I mean, I think it's too early to really tell. He hasn't played a full season yet in the NFL. So, I mean, I'm not going to, bury the guy's career yet.
Fair.
The Panthers aren't a good organization. I will say this, it's not a good spot for Bryce Young right now, and it's not going to get any better right now. I mean, they fired 2 coaches in 2 years. Who knows what they're going to do? I don't think they're really going to have their pick like they want. The attractiveness of that job is definitely a fair question to ask right now, especially given your owner, not just in Carolina, but he fires a lot of people who, on a soccer team that he owns as well. So So I mean that's part of that too. I think Bryce Young has. What you see from him is normally what you see from a rookie quarterback in the NFL. I mean, it takes a while. I think guys like, a Joe Burrow or C.J. Stroud are outliers in what they've been able to do. Even an Andrew Luck outlier in what they've been able to do. So, I mean, give him more time. You can't even put lipstick on the pig that has been the season for Carolina this year. It's just it's been awful in just about every phase. So the one thing that they have been able to do well a little bit is run the football at times. I mean, I know in the first game against the Saints, they had 5 yards per carry on the ground. So that's going to be something the Saints need to keep an eye on this week. But look, you're thin on the defensive line. You're thin in the secondary. So, I mean, I'm not really ready to just scribble a W next to the Saints facing a 1-11 team, which I'll tell you gives me a lot of pause.
I'm with you, and I wouldn't pick them to cover in this game either. I'm looking at them right now, 5.5-point favorites. That's kind of a lot of points for a team that has not covered one time inside of the Superdome this season.
And that tells you everything you need to know, right? They're facing a 1-11 team at home. They're not even favored by a touchdown.
Yeah, that's nuts, and I'm sure it's going to be a sleepy environment in the Superdome, but it's a game the Saints need to win. If they don't, things could get really interesting, especially for people like us that had to talk about this kind of thing, because if the Saints lose, you might see some ramifications. You might see some changes down there on Airline Drive. So Saints and Panthers inside of the Superdome this Sunday. We'll recap that game with T-Bob and Jake when they get back next week. All right, we've gone a little long. We'll come back on the other side of this break. This is OTB, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org. Now, first off, we'll tell you about their emergency service. 24/7 also means 365. And so we're in the holiday season. It's going to be a lot of days where a lot of people don't work. Well, Central Plumbing is not one of those, all right? They're going to be available to you. If you're like me and you've got family coming into town throughout December, it's not just the holidays, it's throughout December. Well, the last thing that you want is to have an issue, have a problem where you're not going to be the best host. That's why you call Central Plumbing. That's why you can call them at any time. They'll come out, they'll fix whatever situation that you might have going on. We give you the website as well, not just the phone number, because it's not only in emergencies. If we're looking at a remodel, bathroom remodel for your home or your business, and come in, tell you exactly what they would do. Hey, we could do this, we can move this here, we can put that there, vanity, shower, tub, tile, whatever it might be. And also, you can ask them about tankless water heaters. Never run out of hot water ever again. Go tankless today with Central Plumbing, centralplumbing.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
For the Friday edition of Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road, Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Sportsbook app. You want to play that pontoon parlay? DraftKings Sportsbook app. Promo code Baton Rouge. NBA season's here, so you put in that promo code Baton Rouge your first time sign up, and you bet $5 on the NBA. You get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Y'all, that is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And remember, if you're a returning customer, they got all kinds of great game day deals going down for you every single NFL game day. So join up with the boys on the pontoon parlay on DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. Must be 21 or older. Physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
Thank you, T-Bob. Thank you, DraftKings. Thought about doing a little same-game parlay. I had a Pelicans-Lakers yesterday. Really glad I did not, because I would have lost some money there. So, shout out to T-Bob and DraftKings. We talked a little NFL in the last segment. I'm looking at the slate here, Taylor and Musso. Not a very exciting weekend of NFL football. You got Seahawks and 49ers. That's a big divisional game in the NFC West. 11-point favorites are the 49ers ahead of that matchup. That's a big spread. And then you have an NFC South showdown between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. That's probably going to be some bad football, but we're interested in it because it helps the Saints. I guess it would be more convenient for New Orleans if Tampa Bay won the game. Then they would be 6-7. Atlanta would be 6-7, and the Saints, if they beat the Panthers, could also sit at 6-7. So not the most exciting weekend of NFL football here, but definitely high implications in the NFC South. So I guess that's where most of my attention will be this Sunday. What about you guys?
Taylor, are the Cowboys going to beat the Eagles, or are y'all going to fail again in the red zone with a chance to win the game at the end?
You know, I don't know, because there's a chance Mike McCarthy doesn't actually coach in this game.
True.
He had the appendicitis surgery. The good news is Kellen Moore will not be calling plays for us, so the offense should be decent. I don't know, man. I mean, I was actually encouraged. I would hate to say I'm encouraged by a loss, but they struggled a lot last year with the Eagles. They lose by 5 the first time they play them. They had a chance to win. CeeDee Lamb fumbles the football, which he hasn't done all year long. They got a shot. They've been really good at home so far. I do think the Eagles win the game because I think the Eagles are a better football team, but I'm excited about it. Mario, I'm watching Jaguars-Browns because Trevor Lawrence was back at practice yesterday on a limited basis. I actually texted you before the injury report even came out.
Does he have ankles of steel? I'm just remembering that same thing happened against the Saints. Like, he suffered a pretty nasty injury. Nobody thought he was going to play, and he still played and ran all over us.
Well, I told you when I texted you, like, right when the injury happened, everyone was freaking out. And I was like, he's fine. He has a high ankle sprain. He'll be out a week, maybe 2. He may not even miss a game. I know because I had that same injury when I played football, and it sucks, but if you're a quarterback, you can manage it. It's more of your lateral movements, your top-end speed, which Trevor Lawrence is good enough in the pocket where he could overcome that. And the Browns' defense has been really good this year. I want to see how a banged-up Trevor Lawrence plays. It looks like he's going to play because C.J. Beathard, the backup, was also a limited participant in practice yesterday with a shoulder injury. So Beathard can't go. Trevor Lawrence is probably going to have to tough it out. That's the game I'm looking at.
Yeah, that should be a good one. And the Browns, somehow, some way, 7-5 on the season, despite not having Deshaun Watson most of the time, despite not having Nick Chubb pretty much all of the time. Like, that defense over there is nasty. And I saw Grant Delpit was having a good season, former LSU Tiger. Shout out to him. We know what Myles Garrett can do. That could be a good matchup as well. And I guess that Sunday night game is really the only one that's like a sexy matchup. Like, the whole country's going to be interested in it. But I would be a little bit more optimistic, Taylor. Like Musso implied, you very, very close to beating Philly in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts is a little banged up as well. Some people even saying that they should not play him until he gets healthier. I saw David Carr take a lot of flack on that on the NFL Network. But hey, man, maybe be a little more optimistic. 6-0 at home. Dak Prescott playing MVP football. I'm sure Jerry's World's going to be lit on Sunday night.
No, I'm excited. That's what I was saying. Like, you had an opportunity to beat them in Philadelphia. You probably should have beaten them in Philadelphia. If Mike McCarthy coaches this game, I'm going to feel a lot better about our chances. I know he takes a lot of heat from the media, which I've never really understood. Mike McCarthy's been a winner everywhere he's been, and him and Dak have a really good chemistry. With Mike McCarthy calling plays, Dak looks like a completely different quarterback. If he's back on the sidelines, I'm going to feel a lot better about this game.
Y'all saw one of the Kelsey brothers, say that he thinks the brotherly shove should be banned. Do y'all think that it should be banned?
I mean, it had to be Travis.
I think it was actually
I don't know. Jason Kelsey might be tired of getting crushed at
That's
the bottom
true.
of
He's
the
on
pile,
the bottom
bro.
of a 20-man dog pile.
About 8 times a game.
We'll workshop that, but regardless of his opinion, do y'all think that's something that should be banned? I mean, is there even many injuries from it? I feel like people are just salty that the Eagles are so good
Yeah,
at it.
that's exactly it. I mean, you're not actually even hitting them full speed. You're so close to them. And then the offensive lines, you're just diving below the defensive line. I mean, it's not a ton of collisions. There's not a ton of big hits. I think people are just worried about the safety of the O-line because they're diving really low at kind of the knee, ankle area, the defensive line. So it probably has to do with that. But, I mean, let's be honest. If they were 50% conversion and not 94% conversion, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Like, I don't like it as a Cowboys fan because they convert on it a lot, but I don't really think it's that dangerous of a play.
Well said. You agree, Musso?
I'm truly indifferent on it. It doesn't. If they want to ban it, they can ban it. If not, it's fine. Be better at it if you if you're another team, you don't understand how they do it all the
Drew
time.
Brees didn't even need it. He would just extend the ball across the goal line.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, we've gone long once again. We'll come back and do one more segment here in hour number 2. Kick off hour number 3 with Carter the Power Bryant. Always look forward to talking to him. This is OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we'll kick things off with our noon kickoff. It's the Jaguars and Browns. Immediately following that, it's Bills and Chiefs, and then our nightcap, the Eagles at Cowboys. Tune in to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on OTB. Shout out Truck Gisclair, program director of ESPN NOLA 100.3. Shout out to everybody listening down there in the 504. Gus Kattengell does a good job. Really good staff over there at ESPN NOLA. Always appreciate our friends over there. Shout out to everybody for participating in these first 2 hours as well of the show. Always enjoy hosting for T-Bob and Hester. Really enjoyed the conversation with Big Fave. Thought he kept it real when it came to the LSU defensive line, who he works directly with. You heard him if you heard the interview that he's worked with Mason Smith. He's worked with Tank Guillory before he went to the NFL. So this is somebody who knows what they're talking about. And that LSU D-line definitely showed flashes of potential this year, but given the talent of that group, given the individuals that are down there, definitely expecting a whole lot more. So hopefully they're able to do that. Really enjoyed that conversation with Big Fave. We will open up hour number 3 with Carter the Power Bryant and talk some more NFL. Also get his opinion on the top 4 rankings in college football. A lot of people really upset about Alabama getting in. That opinion's been pretty much universal. Like, nobody's really with that. Nobody's spitting what guys like Dan Orlovsky and others are as far as being in agreement with that. And I think Carter will kind of fall under the same umbrella. So really looking forward to that. We talked Pelicans in the first segment as well. I see a lot of people in the chat still talking about the Pelicans. Maybe we rehash that in the third hour. I mean, it was a bad loss last night. No other way around it. And it really hurts against that team. Like, y'all know how I feel about the Lakers. It's never a good feeling losing to LeBron James and to Anthony Davis if you're a Pelicans fan. But hey, got to take accountability, got to bounce back, got to realize there's a lot of basketball left to be played. So season is not over, and if you're a NOLA sports fan, in my opinion, that's kind of all you have going for you with how the Saints are doing right now. So maybe talk a little bit more Pels in the third hour, but we will open with Carter the Power Bryant. We'll do Ask the Bench to end the show. Ask us anything about sports, about life, and we will answer it for you. Stay tuned for one more hour. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, and Taylor Sharp here with you. This is Off the Bench on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find him on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. on Friday, December the 8th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect cloudy skies, the high of 72. Coming up on OTBOT, Carter the Power Bryant joins the show next. We'll continue to talk NFL. OTBOT starts right now.
Let we go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
What's up, people? Happy Friday. This is Off the Bench. Mario Jerez here filling in for T-Bob and Hester. They'll be back on Monday. All-star group of producers here today. Matt Musso on the audio board. Taylor Sharp getting us on YouTube. Both of them are basically my co-hosts here today. Really fun first couple hours of the show. Really appreciate all the interaction in the Bayou Ford chat, and really appreciate our next guest for coming on like he normally does whenever I host. He is Carter, the Power Bryant. Let's go. Carter, what's up, man? How you doing?
Mario, happy freaking Friday, baby. Tomorrow is going to be a big day in the history of LSU tackle football. I'm really excited about that. And life is grand, man. We got bowl season coming up, and I, for some reason, am trying to figure out what my favorite bowl pick'em is going to be. So my question for you and the YouTube chat and everybody running around right now, which game are you most confident in right now that you would say is a gazillion% lock to be a W during bowl season?
I like Jacksonville State -3 against ULL. I don't know why that line isn't bigger. Rich Rod's been awesome his first 2 years, and UL, since Billy Napier has left, just not the same culture, not the same football team. That game's in New Orleans, which I appreciate. They love playing in the New Orleans Bowl, but I feel really good about Jacksonville State, who got screwed over, by the way, with that rule from the NCAA not being allowed to play in the postseason now that they're kind of a division up, right? So I really like the Gamecocks.
That's crazy.
What about you? What's your lock?
Man, I really don't know. I kind of feel like Oklahoma State is going to send a message to Texas A&M now that like 90% of Texas A&M's roster is just floating in the transfer portal. So I think I'm going to roll with that one.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to talk LSU, obviously, but I know you were watching that abomination last night from Las Vegas, Pelicans and Lakers. A lot of the chat's been talking about it, even when we have not been talking Pelicans on the show. Just really discouraging, LeBron doing LeBron things. AD didn't even really do too much, but Seemed like Brandon Ingram was maybe at the blackjack table, like right before the game. Seems like Zion was maybe at the buffet, like right before the game. Just not what you wanted to see out of the Pelicans.
Yeah, it was pretty much a no-show. Like, I had a show last night, so gracefully I was absolved from watching what happened. But, it's just one of those things where they looked gassed. I see some say that they looked unenthused. I was able to catch a few highlights here or there. But, yeah, it stinks that they came up short. But, man, I don't know. I think Halliburton is just too good right now. So I think he's going to run away with this with the Pacers. But, yeah, it would have been nice to see them get the big dub last night.
Yeah, Halliburton's a beast, man. I'm glad kind of the rest of the country gets to kind of see what it is. And it's crazy to think the Kings, before they had all this success, traded Tyrese Halliburton. It's kind of like whoa, what if they kept them kind of thing. But moving on to college football, what we really care about at this time of the year. Before we get into LSU, any interest in Army-Navy this weekend, Carter? Both those teams 5-6, both fighting for bowl eligibility. We know our guy Jacob Hester is supposed to be there. Are you excited at all for Army-Navy?
Well, it was interesting. I was on with both you and Musso last year, and I remember, or it might have been even 2 years ago. I don't remember. I think I think Musso told me to take the under. Is the under streak still alive in this game?
It got broke last year because the game went into overtime.
That's right.
It was gonna hit, and the game went into overtime, and once it went into overtime, it was cooked. So, and I think I looked at it, it's like 27.5, which is really low. I think Iowa has kind of wrecked everybody's minds with unders. I don't know if I'm loving 27.5 in that game this year.
Yeah, what's really interesting is I wonder if there's any like Vegas experts. I'm sure Jimmy Ott knows this, but it is ridiculous how low some of these numbers have been this year for totals, right? We've seen it in the NFL because we have a backup quarterback fest pretty much every week now, which stinks. But in college football, with Iowa in particular, what the heck? Every game, Iowa's over-under is like 17.5. And I'm not talking about the team total. I'm talking about the whole total. It's crazy, like how tough it is to play offense now. And it's like all the smart offensive minds don't really know what to do with backup quarterbacks. They don't know what to do versus these two high shell structures that defenses love to run now. And it's been brutal if you love offensive football, but I'm a defensive guy as well. So I've enjoyed seeing a few more defensive struggles this year. So guess what? I'm going to go play this right now. I'm taking the under, Army-Navy, old school style. Let's go.
All right. I guess we could play my drinking game again. We talked about it with Caroline Fenton yesterday when she came on. Last year, me and my buddies started, I guess, a tradition that every time we'll watch the Army-Navy game, and every time there's a completed pass, we'll go take a shot. We did that last year, and like Musso said, a game that went to double overtime, we took 3 shots the whole game. They completed 3 passes. So hopefully it's a little bit more exciting this time around in terms of offense. But, hey, you appreciate the defense, and I respect that. And we know everybody listening, or most people listening, I would think, really respect Jaden Daniels. He is going to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony this weekend. I know you're really hype. I know you've been covering Jaden the entire season. We know he's well, we don't know, but we think he's going to take home the trophy. This is kind of just a formality. My question to you, which I also asked Big Fave, is what do you think Jaden's legacy will ultimately be at LSU? Because he's put up the numbers. He's really carried this team. He's kind of ushered in the Brian Kelly era at LSU as well, right? The team success isn't there, but he definitely did everything in his power. What do you think Jaden's legacy will be in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great one as long as the spineless college football playoff committee doesn't get involved with the Heisman vote. Jaden will win the award. Really excited about that. And I think, for me, Mario, the thing that really struck me about Jaden when he first came to LSU was all the personal struggles that he had at Arizona State, right? Losing very close family members and overcoming all this adversity, seeing Arizona State players throw his stuff around in his old locker room. I mean, getting into a situation where you have stability, you still have your head coach, you still have your offensive coordinator, you have both your offensive tackles, you have your 2 favorite receivers, you have your tight end coming back. That tells you that familiarity is just very important. It also shows you that hard work pays off. I mean, I think one thing, Mario, that's very important to keep in mind about Jaden was he was not this player the year before. He wouldn't take as many vertical shots as obviously everyone would have liked him to. And he really worked on his craft this offseason. You see a smoother throwing motion. You see a more decisive Jaden. You see him taking, the advice from Malik Neighbors to just throw it up, give him a chance to go make a play. And that goes to show you that he did not just stand on his business last year with just an SEC West title and a few rough games. You see a completely different quarterback this year. And it honestly has made me think to myself, what can I do to improve in my daily life and my YouTube and my little bit of success that I've had? So the fact that he built on what he already had last year, which was a really good season, showed me that even the best can take their game to another level.
Man, sports are such a great lesson of life, especially football. I always try to take little lessons like that as well. And Jaden, is very inspiring in that regard. And he was really good when he came in. Like, I didn't think he was going to be as good off the bat out of Arizona State, especially when you talk about that Bama game. But to your point, the improvements he's made now being, able to attack all three levels of the field and do so consistently, you definitely see the growth. And that kind of goes into my next question, Carter, which is how do you think he'll do in the NFL? Because there seems to be differing opinions. Like, the pocket presence is there, the athleticism is there, but still some concerns about his playing style, right? All the hits that he'll take, and not just that, but also kind of his running style. I see a lot of people talk about how Jaden runs upright and, the jumping over the line of scrimmage kind of thing, things that you're not going to be able to do in the NFL. So how do you think Jaden will do as a professional once he leaves LSU?
Yeah, the good thing about Jaden is he has a great work ethic. He's very coachable, very mature. He's a guy that you want leading, your locker room. I think he's going to be a fine professional because when Jaden Daniels is on the field, not a single blade of grass is safe, right? You have to cover every last little dimension now that he has this elite vertical passing ability. And then, of course, his running ability. It's just amazing how many tackles he's able to miss. And he does this weird kind of like jumping gallop in midair whenever you try and take his legs out from under him. I've never seen really anyone do that. So obviously there's going to be, some growing pains in there, but there are some places that he would fit in pretty well and some offenses that are used to occasionally having a dual threat quarterback back there. And I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints, baby. The Who Dat Nation has a chance to right all wrongs, kill the narrative, Mario, that they do not like LSU players. If they draft Jaden Daniels to be their starting quarterback, there will be a whole new wave of Saints fans. There will be an actual group of Saints fans that are excited about the future of this team. So let's get this done, Mickey. Let's go.
I'd be down. There's risk, but there's risk for every quarterback. I would probably trade Derek Carr for Jaden Daniels right now. I'll even throw in like a washing machine or something. But that's just my opinion. I think whatever team gets him, they're going to be really fortunate. And I think he'll do really well in the pros. There is the injury risk, but again, that kind of comes with everybody. So that'll be covered for a long time once we get past the football season. But getting back to the college ranks for a second, Carter, interesting name hit the transfer portal yesterday, and that was Travis Etienne Jr. out of Florida. We know there's some history with his brother as well. Maybe almost coming to LSU. We're not able to score him, but now Travis is in the transfer portal. Do you think LSU will have any interest, or if not, where do you think that he'll maybe end up?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have him. You look at him as a player last year, obviously, you have to split the work with Montrell Johnson. He's probably frustrated with the role. He's probably frustrated with not being bowl eligible and being, on a mediocre losing program for, 2 consecutive seasons. I did see some pass protection issues last year from him, but those can always get fixed. And we saw what he did versus LSU last year. He was a really good football player. But I'm not so sure if this one's going to happen. There are some players that I, in particular, are very excited about, and one of those is Xavier Thomas, right? There's some good vibes heading this way from the Mississippi State transfer, a guy who's been a proven punt and kick returner at the Division I Power 5 level, at the SEC level. And on Power Hour SEC, my SEC channel, he really blew me away in the Egg Bowl. He made some really incredible plays, and that was pretty much the only bright spot on a team that only scored 7 points. So I think Xavier Thomas would be a great fit, and I understand. For LSU, why do we need receivers? Well, he would fit a role quite quickly as a special teamer, and I also think he can contribute at LSU as a receiver. So that's one of many I'm looking at right now, Mario.
Going back to LSU for a second, Carter the Power Bryant is our guest here on OTB. He's the host of Power Hour LSU. LSU still has a bowl game to play. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play in it. We know Malik Neighbors will because he wants that receiving yards record at the university. But what, if anything, are you looking for in this bowl game? We know we'll have a lot of young guys get a lot of reps. We were talking heavy on the defensive line with Big Fave a couple of minutes ago. In terms of team or maybe individual players, what, if anything, are you looking for in the ReliaQuest Bowl?
Big Fave, man, one of the best
best
LSU musical athletes of all time. Gotta love it. For me, Mario, it's going to come down to the opponent. I know it sounds very strange, but the Purdue game was fun and not so fun in many different ways, right? As Purdue didn't show up and we really couldn't get a look at anyone. And, of course, I mean, who will never forget the Quad Wilson pick six? That was one of my most exciting moments as a LSU fan. But it's crazy to think that Wisconsin could no-show themselves in this bowl game. I hope they don't. I think with the first-year coach, you could see a motivated squad. They still could buy into Luke Fickell, as, of course, Wisconsin, even under Luke Fickell in year one, they fell a little bit under expectations. So I hope we see a motivated Wisconsin team, because while last year was fun and 65-7 will probably never be forgotten, it's always better to play a team that's actually locked in and motivated, because if they're not, LSU will just run them off the field.
Fair enough. Anything else going on in the world of college football that's catching your attention, Carter? I know Duke hired Manny Diaz to be their new head coach, replacing Mike Elko, who's leaving for Texas A&M. I feel like he had good moments at Penn State, but not really, getting them to the level that they wanted to be. Do you think that moves the needle at all for Duke, who I was glad for? Had some success in football. I feel like they've had patches of that with Cutcliffe and with Mike Elko. Do you think Manny Diaz does anything of note as Duke's head coach?
Yeah, I really don't know at this point. Obviously, what he gets at OC is going to be very important. What's really still gotten me to my soul is this college football playoff decision. And I know it's been discussed ad nauseum. I know my dear buddy T-Bob is on my side of how Florida State got absolutely mollywopped in this situation. And you do have to wonder about the future of the ACC, right? I mean, this was a Florida State program that was openly begging to get out of the conference. And even with staying in the ACC, they get shafted, obviously, at this fourth playoff spot. So that, to me, is still, the big story, right? There's so many questions about, and hypotheticals. What if Georgia had won? And what if this had happened? What if Oregon had won? The college football playoff process is very interesting. And to me, the biggest story, not only with this playoff going from 4 to 12, and this year being the absolute perfect bridge year for the college football playoff going to 12, because many people feel now, Mario, well, we got to stretch this thing out because one team got absolutely wrong, that if it's a 12-team format, that won't happen. Well, that to me is a big story. And then obviously Charlie Baker coming out and saying, hey, we could create a different level of Division I Power 5 football with the $30,000 a year salary rule, basically. So that to me is very interesting. I'm not too, up to date on that, but that would be an obvious seismic shift for the world of college football.
Carter the Power Bryant. He joins us pretty much every time I host. Always gives us great insight. Always provides the energy. Carter, how are you going to be consuming the Heisman Trophy ceremony this Saturday night? I'm sure you're going to do it big.
Yeah, I wish I was. I'm actually DJing a Christmas party.
Oh, I saw that. Cool.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, it's Christmas season. These it gets crazy during this time of year. So I will be paying attention, though. I'm doing it for a big LSU fan, so we'll definitely be keeping up because it's a big day, man. It's huge, right? It's a story of just one man just growing right before our eyes, and obviously, Mario, I want to send some positive vibes out to Malik Neighbors and this Biletnikoff. I think I feel pretty good about Jaden taking home the big prize, and that's the one I think everyone cares about the most. But I am hoping the voters do the rational thing, do the right thing. Don't vote for the guy with the biggest name. Don't vote, and even though the vote's already in, Don't give the award to the guy who has the best NFL draft stock. Give it to the man who put himself at number one for me on the all-time great LSU wide receiver hierarchy. Give it to Malik Neighbors.
Number one.
And yeah, he's my number one guy.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not going to say in terms of peak. I'm factoring in career. I'm factoring in all of that. I think this 2-year run by Malik Neighbors was truly unprecedented, and I hope he gets his Biletnikoff because he wanted it so dearly.
Well said. He's a beast. Glad I still got to broadcast his games, at least for his freshman season on the Spanish broadcast. So not a bad pick for the best LSU receiver of all time. DJ Carter the Power Brian, I should say, giving us a few minutes here on OTB. Thanks for the time, man. Hope you have a great event there, and I hope you have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, Mario. Musso, my man, good to see you as well. Let's go.
Catch you later, Carter.
There he goes, Carter the Power Bryant, getting ready to do some DJing and getting ready to watch the Heisman Trophy ceremony along with all of us. I'm looking at Twitter right now. Looks like Jaden Daniels working a shift at Raising Cane's. That is awesome. Man of the people is Jaden Daniels. We'll see if he's able to take home that Heisman Trophy tomorrow night. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more NFL. Taylor Sharp has a couple of teams that has surprised him this year and one team that's really disappointed him, and it's not the Saints because we know they fit that category. This is Off the Bench. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
All right, go to the website, GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com. You still have a couple of days. In fact, well, you got a day and a half. That deadline is going to be December the 7th. And, of course, we're talking about the 488 bikes that Gordon is giving away here throughout the state of Louisiana. Now, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Monroe, Shreveport. Remember, that was November the 30th deadline, but be on the lookout for those winners when they get announced. They're going to be announced in Lake Charles, Lafayette, Alexandria coming up Friday, December the 8th. On Saturday, December the 9th in Shreveport and Monroe. And then that deadline is tomorrow for Hammond and Baton Rouge. And then the announcement comes on December the 15th. So, again, go to GordonGives.com. That is the website to sign up. Follow them on all major social media. @GetGordon is always going to be that handle. You know the number, area code in Louisiana, followed by 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
Join me for a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Ready for Saints-Panthers? Ready for LSU K-State? They're giving away a trophy in New York. We might as well talk about it. Hunt Palmer Show, 1 to 3 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Go to RejuveMeMedical.com, RejuveMeMedical.com. You can call them at 855-660-1027. You can text them at 225-442-0646. You can get the consultation set up right there on the homepage of RejuveMeMedical.com. One of the things we tell you about, go to the list of conditions they can treat for you. Fatigue and insomnia, right? Mood and memory problems. No matter what it is you've got going on, maybe you know something is going on, but you don't know what that is, and that's why Rejuve Me is there. They are there to get to the bottom of whatever that issue might be. So go ahead and get that consultation set up. Remember, they've got locations in Baton Rouge, Houma, Metairie, Prairieville, Shreveport, Slidell. They are all over the state of Louisiana. So go ahead, get that done today. Figure out why you're not feeling like yourself, right? Go get the blood work done. You're in, you're out. We've told you too many stories of people. It's an easy process. And then they call you. They tell you what plan they're going to get you on, but you can't get that plan going unless you visit them at RejuveMeMedical.com.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you to our friends over at Rejuve Me Medical. Talked a lot of college football in the last segment with Carter the Power Bryant. Shout out to Carter for coming on. Wanted to talk a little NFL here in this segment. We prepared Taylor's biggest surprise in the league this year and his biggest disappointment. We kind of already broke down the bigger disappointment, Taylor, early on in the show. Talked Buffalo Bills, recapped what their coach said a couple of years ago in a meeting. You can go back and listen if you missed it. Your biggest surprise did kind of catch me off guard here. This is one of 4 AFC playoff teams right now that are playing with a backup quarterback, and they've been without their first-round pick this year. But this team somehow still having a pretty good season.
Yeah, and I did not go with the obvious choice of the Houston Texans. My biggest surprise as far as positive, it's got to be the Indianapolis Colts, right? I mean, they draft Anthony Richardson. They throw him in there. He becomes a starting quarterback. He gets hurt week 4? Mm-hmm. He's out for the year. So they go with Gardner Minshew, and you're like, okay, well, Gardner Minshew's a seasoned veteran. You know, he knows what he's doing. He's had success everywhere he's been. People got to remember, they've basically done this without Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he's been a full go for 3 games this year. He missed the first 4 or 5 games, comes back. They kind of try to ease it into him. Then he's out again the last 2 weeks. He's going to be out again this week, it looks like. Zach Moss has been a godsend to that backfield. I think he's really been able to stabilize that running game. But look, Shane Steichen, his first year as a head coach in the NFL, he's doing it with a backup quarterback. His best offensive player, top 5 running back in the NFL, and Jonathan Taylor has been out pretty much the entire year. And right now he's in playoff contention. I mean, he's right there. The job he's done this year has been incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Steichen, given the circumstances, has done an awesome job. And people, I know Jake was really high on him just as an offensive coach and a play caller. He's done really good. And you make a good point about the Texans. They kind of seem to be everybody's kind of lovable underdog this season. And I went to that stadium this year, man. I think I even told y'all in the group text, early on, the Texans were still around 500 this time, but there was nobody in the stadium. It kind of filled up towards the end of the first half, but there was just very little buzz in Houston at that time. Right now, I bet that's different. Their last home game when they came from behind and won, I bet it's a pretty good atmosphere over there. And these are two very young, very charismatic coaches. When you talk about Steichen and when you talk about D'Amico Ryans with Houston, like the wild card version or the wild card part of this division could be really interesting between those two teams. And I think it's kind of a dead heat. Like, Indianapolis is playing with their backup, so give him props there. But C.J. Stroud doing everything he's supposed to do. And Will Anderson quietly having a very, very good rookie season. Two rookies that are really impacting the game and really kind of changing the culture over there in Houston. But Indianapolis certainly deserves credit, too. It's going to be really fun to watch kind of the race between those two teams as we get towards the end of the season here.
Well, the craziest part is, Mario, the Colts are 7-5, okay? Same record as the Houston Texans. They're only 2-4 at home. They're 5-1 on the road this year outright. I mean, what they've been able to do in hostile environments, they've also won 4 straight games. But to have a losing record at home and be 7-5 with all those backups in there, all those injuries, they got injuries on the defense as well that a lot of people don't talk about. It's really impressive. I mean, you're 5-1 away with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it's impressive, man, and it goes to show what good coaching can do. Like, you utilize matchups, you try to try to hide the deficiencies of your players, both sides of the football. And that's what Dennis Allen has just not done, in my opinion. Not just Dennis Allen, but the entire New Orleans Saints staff. And that's been really obvious when you see the players speak in these availabilities. Like, other coaches, even some younger coaches, are doing a much better job with that and kind of with a lot less to work with. So that makes being a Saints fan even more frustrating. We'll see what happens with the Colts, and we'll see what happens with the Texans as well. Short segment here. We'll come back on the other side, do something fun, do something random. Y'all know what the deal is. Friday, OTB, third hour, lots of nonsense. So let's keep the nonsense going, maybe sprinkle in a little bit of sports in the meantime. This is Off the Bench. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. Whether you're buying new, if you're leasing, or if you're checking out that rental department that we tell you about every single day, just know that the full fleet is available in every single thing that we talk about with All-Star. So no matter what you're looking for, if you want a full-size SUV, you need it for your big crew. Well, they got the Sequoia. If you'd rather go to the minivan game, they've got the Sienna. But if you just want a midsize SUV, and also I tell you this, the midsize SUVs are bigger than you're probably thinking right now. Like, for me, I've got a Highlander. And y'all know, look, we've got a huge family, but it works for us, right? We can check out the Highlander. We can check out the 4Runner, some different options there. So go see them today. Go see it for yourself. See what fits your needs, your family's needs. You know they got sedans. You know they got hybrids. They've got the trucks, the Tundra, the Tacoma, something for everybody, and all the processes that we talk about every single day. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible, let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in
the Dome. It's state championship week in high school football, and we get things started at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock. And at 7, it's the select Division I state championship game between the Catholic High Bears and Acadiana Wrecking Rams. All right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB, OT, with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Happy Friday, people. Welcome back to Off the Bench. Mario Jerez here, filling in for T-Bob and Jake. I got cold over the break, got a jacket on here. Matt Musso and Taylor Sharp hanging out with you as well. I found this clip last night, and over the break, I decided I wanted to play it. Meredith Whitney is a financial analyst for CNBC, and this is somebody who has some accreditations, like good resume. This is somebody who's been credited for predicting the financial crisis back in 2008. You would think she knows what she's talking about whenever she talks about sports betting, which was a topic at hand here, but I don't think she does, and I'll let y'all be the judge of that for y'all selves. This is Meredith Whitney on CNBC talking about legalized sports betting and some of the bad results that have come out of that for young men across the country.
NVIDIA and its performance this year. DraftKings has doubled that performance. And you understand why. You have this massive secular wave behind it. So the negative impact is that it's all young men. And I parallel that with, or dovetail that with Pew Research, which says that 63% of young men are single. And that's the highest it's ever been. And 50% of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually. And 30% of those men, or 30% of young men, say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So the point being,
they're getting pleasure out of sports betting instead.
Sports betting now through technology is as easy as buying something, ordering a pizza online, or shopping online. And what you see is young men who've grown up with gaming are used to doing everything on their phone, and now they can do all sorts of betting on their phone. You can do real-time parlays on their phone during a game, and it's been explosive. So if you look at the growth in, and so DraftKings says that they've doubled revenue every year, expected to double revenue over the next 3 years, but that's just on the existing states. So the most populous states don't have legalized online sports betting or sports betting, and that's California and Texas. So if those come online, you've got double, triple the type of revenue adjusted EBITDA. But what this means for housing then is you have the lowest household formation growth rate in over 60 years. It could be longer, but that's as long as the data has been comprised. And so you have young men who don't want to date and young women who are spending their time really with Instagram moments, going to the Taylor Swift concert. I don't know if you've been to them. It's all filmed about yourself at the Taylor Swift concert. So
they're not getting married and building homes.
Okay, there's just so much going on here. Like that's quite the jump, right? Like, have y'all ever seen Reefer Madness? Like the movie back in the 50s that warned about like the dangers of marijuana, which of course there are dangers. Like, of course there's a little bit of legitimacy to what she's saying there, but the downfall of society is not going to be because of legalized sports betting. And yes, young people, we're all young people. We all kind of fall in that group of what she's talking about. It's like any other vice. Like, alcohol can ruin your life, drugs can ruin your life, sports betting, I guess, can ruin your life. But there was a lot going on there. I think that our girl Meredith is doing a little bit too much here.
Look, this is something that I just went through because I'm recently married. I've recently purchased a house. I think this has to do with the economy side of things, Mario, not DraftKings or Taylor Swift concert or whatever they're talking about.
Taylor Swift.
It's more expensive to take people out on dates now. It's more expensive to buy a house now. It's more expensive to get married now. And you could argue that if you're on DraftKings, you're actually trying to make money and not spend money. I mean, this is something that it's like, oh, well, DraftKings is to blame for X, Y, and Z, and the Taylor Swift concert's to blame for X, Y, and Z. It's more expensive to do anything now. People are saving their monies. They're not moving out of their parents' house. I mean, you can look across the country and people are living with their parents longer than they ever have. It's just everything's more expensive nowadays. What do you have right now? Like, what incentive do you have to get married, to buy a house right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. Musso, we spent over a year having a show based on sports betting. We've kind of entrenched ourselves in this world. Do you agree with Meredith that it's going to lead to the downfall of society?
Meredith sounds like somebody who just lost their parlay. Just admit it, Meredith. It's okay. It happens. May I suggest sides and totals? Stay away from the parlay. A lot of risk there. Yeah. That's a reach, man. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more like economic issues you could get into than sports. But I think now, I'm not saying like some people aren't going to, I mean, gambling can be a serious addiction, obviously, and things of that nature. So that can happen. But to cite 63% of men and then 53%, and to put that all on sports betting is, man, that's... Yeah, I'm just going to disagree with that. I don't think that's actually factual. Your numbers may have been factual, but your opinion as to why is just an opinion. And again, I'll say, stick to the sides, the totals, the parlays. They'll get you, Mayor. You gotta watch out there.
Yeah, she's right. I mean, Musso's right. She's mad about the pontoon parlay is what it is, Mario. No, I mean, you could cite DraftKings and say, well, DraftKings keeps going up. Yeah, it just became available in a lot more states. Sports betting keeps getting passed in more and more states. Obviously, the numbers are going to go up. I mean, like Musso said, like, yeah, her numbers are technically correct, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's related. And then Taylor Swift catching strays over here. I mean, you guys know me. I'm no Taylor Swift fan, but like, come on, man.
That had some old man yelling at the clouds energy, right? Like, you damn kid and your sports betting and your Taylor Swift concerts, like just doing way too much there. And you got to be responsible for it. But I would say it's impacted my life positively. I mean, maybe less socializing, but that's just because I'm kind of at this stage in my life. I don't think it has as much to do with what I'm doing in that department, but it's a good thing, man. And I know a lot of people that just basically hand their money to DraftKings and some of these companies, like just bet off of vibes. But if you just do the littlest bit of research, not saying you have to dive in and be, like one of these guys on Jimmy and Hanny show that just entrenches yourself, but do a little bit of research. It is fun, and it is a good feeling when you win. Like, you guys have been next to me the whole time the last 2 years when I made some future bets. Both times with the Miami Heat. A couple of years ago, they fell short. Last year, they made it to the freaking finals, and I went to Miami, and it was a thrill. So it could be a lot of fun. You just got to do it responsibly. But that was a lot of fun for me. It got legalized right before the NCAA tournament a couple years ago when St. Peter's made that run. And we had Rafael Esparza, shout out to him on the show, Musso. He came on and pretty much called it. I kept riding them the whole rest of the tournament. They made it all the way to the Elite Eight. And the last two games, including the time they upset Purdue, I watched in the casino at Caesars Palace. And that's like top 5 sports experience in my life. So you got to do it responsibly, but especially if you're a sports fan, which most young men are, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, I know plenty of women who sports bet too, though.
There you go.
I mean, and I plenty of my friends sports bet, and a lot of them are married. Some of them have just had kids. So I don't know, Meredith. Again, I think your numbers on male and marriage and housing and things of that are probably accurate, but correlation and your causation, we're going to have to check that out there.
What was the most fun y'all ever had betting on sports? I kind of gave my spiel there with St. Peter's and the Heat last year. Have y'all ever felt that kind of adrenaline? Big bet?
I mean, yeah, there's been some. I tell you what was always fun is that that I like to do that parlay at the beginning of the college baseball tournament with all the regional 1 seeds versus the 4 seeds. That's always fun. But I mean, I tend to remember the L's a little bit more than the wins.
Taylor, I know you're not a big sports bettor, but I'm sure you've had a win here and there. Any happy memories?
Musso convincing me to do the 1 seeds over the 4 seeds in the NCAA baseball tournament. And like the cool thing was there was I don't remember if it was a tropical storm or something hit in Florida, and 2 of the series they took out of the parlay, and those are the 2 that did not hit. So we kind of got bailed out by that. It was a 14-leg parlay instead of a 16.
Man. Well, interesting conversation around sports betting. And the one like kind of financial piece I found interesting was the fact that California and Texas still haven't legalized it. Like that's going to be a boom. That's going to create a lot of jobs. That's going to be a lot of money for those 2 states whenever they catch up. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think Meredith seems like a really sharp lady, but she is tripping in that video. So that'll do it for this segment. We have an extended Ask the Bench coming up. I already see a couple of questions in the Bayou 4 chat. A lot of you still hanging out with us. Really appreciate y'all for being here, for participating here today. We have 1 segment left to go. That's coming up on the other side of this break. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, Taylor Sharp. This is Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Hey, boat owners, check it out. It is the holiday season, which means it's time to buy yourself a gift by taking your boat to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boat Service. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your boat and get it ready for that warmer weather, whether that's trolling motors, HD sonar, anything and everything. The Sherman family's been at it for 30 years, and Devin's going to take you through 30 more. Find them on Facebook at Front to Back Boat Service or go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Friday edition of Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road. Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Wrapping up the show here on a Friday, Hester and T-Bob will be back on Monday. Mario Jerez, Matt Musso, and Taylor Sharp. Thank you to both of these guys for hanging out with me here today. They've been a big help, both production-wise and on the microphone, as always. Real quick before we get into Ask the Bench, the drinking game, Army-Navy that we referenced during the show today and yesterday. That was not with my buddies. That was with my girlfriend, Sarah. She had reminded me. That was a good time. Shout out to Sarah. Always appreciate her listening. All right, let's get into some Ask the Bench questions. Shout out to everybody in the Bayou 4 chat for listening, for participating as always. The first one comes from Brian Burgess. What is your favorite kind of brownie? I like a simple brownie, I guess. Chocolate, a little crispy. I like, tasting the crust type of brownie. That's my favorite kind.
This is a Musso question, honestly. Musso, you can go before me.
I mean, you're going to be disappointed because it's just a regular chocolate brownie. I love chocolate anything, so it's my favorite type of dessert is chocolate. So chocolate brownie, contrary to popular belief of what Taylor was trying to imply there.
Yeah, I don't know how you can't go chocolate. That's got to be the only answer, right?
Well,
also, Mario, thank you for thanking me for being here the last couple days. I mean, I'm here all day anyways, so you didn't really have to, but shout out to you, man.
Still grateful, man. Can't take things for granted in this life. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Chef yesterday was talking about the Olympics. Have any of you ever had the chance to attend any event like the Olympics or major international sporting event? Yes, I've been very blessed. I've gotten to see some cool stuff. I went to the World Cup in 2006 in Germany. It was awesome. I saw so much. I'll be transparent with y'all and tell y'all that's the first time I had a beer. I was 12 years old. It was supervised, all good. Not that uncommon in Latin American culture, but that was awesome. Like seeing all the different creeds, all the different races, the pride that goes in to these soccer teams. Ronaldinho is still playing for Brazil. I got to watch him live. I got to watch Zinedine Zidane. That was an experience I will never forget.
I haven't, nothing international like that yet. I would love to go to the Olympics one day, though. And I mean, the Summer Olympics are here next time, aren't they? No, well, they're in Paris. And then after Paris, I think it's or North America, I guess they're going to do.
World Cup is here next
the World Cup, which, again, that'd be really cool as well. But, yeah, no, haven't done anything like that yet.
Nope, never done it.
Mario, I have a question.
Yep.
And again, I guess it's kind of inside the baseball a little bit with this, but so the bed we're playing was on the old Middle Relief Hotkeys, which was a show you and I did in between early line. What did we ever use this for? Because I don't ever remember this bed ever.
So you had to leave because you had to go do production stuff for AFR, and whenever me and Hilly would do the final hour, this would be the bed music that Casey would play.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
All right, I was just like, I have no recollection of this anyway. All right.
That's where it comes from.
Sorry to bring that up on air. Nobody really cared about that.
No worries.
But it just was in my head. Sorry about that.
Middle Relief, early line will always hold a special place in my heart, bro. Like we both hosted like shows before that, college radio and whatnot, but that was a great experience, man. Both the betting portion and the middle relief. Me talking about baseball for a long time.
How about
that was that was a lot of fun. Shout out to middle relief, RIP. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Is this the first show the three producers have done together? I actually think this is the first time I've shared the airwaves with. Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe early line, middle relief.
I don't remember.
The first time the three of us, just the three of us.
Yeah,
yes.
just the three of us. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Probably. I don't
Y'all
remember.
ever seen the movie The Producers? Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick.
I have not.
No.
Good movie.
We'll have to check it out. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Favorite dipping sauce. I like ranch. Ranch is universal, man. It's like the khaki pants of condiments.
Okay, I mean, I was going to go that, but since y'all both did ranch, I'll go barbecue sauce.
That's good too. Barbecue.
Honey mustard.
Honey.
Good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, honey mustard's really solid.
What do y'all get at Chick-fil-A? I know it's chalk, but I really like the Chick-fil-A sauce. If not, I'm going Polynesian.
So you killed it. That's mine too. That's mine too. Yeah.
I go Chick-fil-A sauce.
All right. Hashtag.
Exclusively?
Yeah, I rarely get the Polynesian, actually.
It hits, especially on the sandwich. I know a lot of people don't try that, but I recommend you do. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Best uniform in the NBA. I hate to admit it, but probably either Lakers or Celtics because they're both pretty simple. They're both pretty iconic. I'd probably give it to one of those two.
The Pelicans red jerseys are the best uniform in the NBA.
Hell yeah.
That is the best uniform in the NBA.
I like the Miami Heat all black. Red Heat logo on the front. Just looks good. It hits. The red and black looks good together. I like the Miami Heat.
I know.
I was gonna say if we're talking Lakers, I actually like their all whites better than the all gold or the all purple.
The all whites are clean, and if we're talking Heat, I know that we're not very happy with LeBron this morning, but when they wore those all black uniforms and he had the face mask that they didn't let him wear, that looked so cool. LeBron looked like a supervillain. That was an awesome jersey. Hashtag Ask the Bench. I just tuned in. What did I miss? You missed some great conversations with Big Fave and Carter the Power Bryant. Both of those are posted on demand. I recommend you go check it out. And you missed a CNBC, there we go. Analysts talk about sports betting and how it's killing the young men in our country and how it's going to lead to the downfall of society. I recommend you go check that out. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Favorite rainy day movie? I don't know if I have a favorite rainy day movie. Anything come to mind for you guys?
Rainy day movie for me is My Cousin Vinny, just because it's just one of my favorite movies ever. I don't care if it's rainy or sunny, but I'll go with that.
That's a great movie, man. That's a good movie. That's a great movie. Yes, a comedy, some type of comedy.
I like Happy Gilmore. It's a classic.
Great one.
That's a good rainy day movie for sure. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Mario, when are you going to start doing burger review vids? That's not a bad idea. That's been floated around in here now that I'm remembering that could be something in the near future. All right. Really enjoyed hosting the last couple of days. Shout out to all of our guests that have come on. Shout out to all of you in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Excellent interaction throughout these last two shows. Shout out to Taylor and Musso. They were a big help today. T-Bob and Jake both back on Monday. Hope Jaden Daniels went to Heisman this weekend. Hope everybody has a great next couple of days. OTB, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team